Alright. Shopify Rebellion's ByuN in the top right side of the map. Reynor in the bottom left. And it's time here to play the grand finals of the Patch Clash number 9. That's right, guys. 12 workers start. All of the recent changes reverted, but of course there's about 50,000 other crazy changes that Patches has been adding to his mod for several years now. And he's just announced his big $5,000 circuit, sponsored by Delphus, has helped him run that. They are right now looking for support for that. If you guys want to help support them run more tournaments and raise the prize pool and that sort of stuff, link is in the description. You guys can go check it out. For those watching live, links in the chat. Someone, can you link it up for me? Someone still has the link from earlier, those watching live. I'm sure you do. Now, for those who don't know, we'll fill you guys in on all the changes as we go, but I'm sure many of you have already watched the 3 matches leading into this that we've cast. With ByuN Reynor in the upper finals. ByuN won that. Reynor now fought his way through the lower bracket, which is why ByuN is up 1-0 in this series as he opens up 2-Rax Reaper again. Remember, Reynor struggled against this 2-Rax Reaper earlier because he chased out front with his queens, got them killed by a few Reapers. But on this map, got a high ground ramp. There's only the one jump in point. It shouldn't be too hard to defend on this map. I actually think this is a rather weak map to commit to 2-Rax Reaper, personally, but I think ByuN just enjoys the flow. I think a lot of Terran players enjoyed the flow of putting the Zerg on the defensive, making them react, and obstructing their build order a little bit. So, not a bad idea for ByuN. Of course, for those who don't know, queens only do 5 damage as opposed to 8 in the live game against ground, but you can upgrade them into a swarm queen, which whilst it has a worse anti-air attack, it is a fantastic anti-ground unit. It goes up to 12, and of course can be upgraded to have +2 armor. It can be upgraded to spread creep wherever it moves. And not just, I thought it would be a little snail trail behind it, but it's literally, if the queen moves from here to here, it creates an entire friggin' avenue of creep as it moves. Obviously the creep is not permanent, it will recede, but my god, I really feel like once Zergs get the hang of getting those queens out with that upgrade and just running them around big maps everywhere, constantly respreading creep, it's going to be very hard on really big 4-player maps, especially if a Terran is ever turtling, to deal with just how much the creep is going to encroach on their territory. Nice spore trick there to save that drone. Queen goes for the inject, and we'll push the Reaper away. It's just going to be 2, 3, 4 Reapers actually already. Could of course save a bit more gas and build a 5th one. We'll see if he goes for it. 2nd gas is down behind this, so no rush for the 3rd command center just yet. Probably wants to go straight for the factory, of course. Queen taking some damage. You can see how little the damage matters from the Queen on the Reaper. But Zerglings are a little faster on creep before Ling Speed is finished. No difference once Ling Speed's done, which is a nice way of helping them deal with that. So it is 4 Reapers, guys. And 3rd command center into factory does go down. This is so interesting because I feel like, oh man, the Zerglings are all on the high ground. The Queens do so little damage. Good pullback on the Queen, though. Really good pullback on the Queen. Yeah, you need to have your Zerglings here. And I think for Reynor, he's got good overlord position. He should be able to see if those Reapers run in the other direction. Ling Speed's only just started. Oh my god. Guys, Ling Speed's only just started. If ByuN was going 3-Rax Reaper, he's dead. And I've been saying this before, is like, people are so greedy. And I really feel like even if you get a quick Ling Speed, we know that dealing with 3-Rax Reaper with Ling Speed is quite... And like, the way everyone's opening, no one's going pool first. They're going hatch first. No one's doing a pull first roach pressure, or at least not very often. Reynor did it one game against ByuN. He tried to do it, of course. To me, it feels like if ByuN was to open 2 Barracks Proxy Reaper down here or something like that, maybe here, I think most Zergs would just die to that on this patch. Or at least fall way behind. I would love to see how they would deal with that, because I think with their current openings, they are in a dangerous spot. Keep in mind, guys, you might think, well, Zerg's just nerfed on this patch. Well, no, you can stack 4 lava on a hatchery, and it'll keep producing up to 4, right? 4 is where it stops producing, whereas normally it's 3 on the live version of the game. So that's a kind of subtle, but actually very impactful change. It seems subtle until you actually play with it and you go, man, I just have more stuff. You do need that more stuff. The Queens will not defend the early pressure as well as it does on the live game, and that's, of course, a big adjustment. But hold on. Ling Speed's about to kick in. It's going to be a jump scare. ByuN. ByuN's like, oh, you don't have Ling Speed. He should know that this is almost ready, though. Yeah, he's going to have to drop some grenades here. Oh, good zoning grenade. He's got to throw them a bit more defensively if he wants to keep these Reapers alive. He could have used those grenades to keep the Lings at arm's length, but instead he's kind of just running in circles. Not running back to his natural seems like an odd choice. He's got a billion Marines that could defend this. Instead, he's trying to micro around the map and actually kite the Zerglings down. I mean, ByuN has faith in his micro, but I think this is just a bit unnecessarily risky. Then again, maybe he's happy to take this trade, thinking Reaper Hellion isn't really going to scale to the later stages of the game. Medevac's coming out, so it's going to be Stim, Medevac, Marine drop soon. He'll move out with the Marines, have the Medevac join up with it. If he could meet on the pillar with the Medevacs, Marines already on the low ground, they could snipe the Overlord, pick up, and then boost across would be really nice. And where else would the Overlord be? Could be on this pillar. Could be over on this pillar as well, though actually that's not really a pillar. That can just get spotted from the high ground on the third. Marines are moving across. Medevacs are going to come out. 2 Marines actually get surrounded there. A little sloppy, I got to say. Sees the Overlord. He could go back to get that on the way home. He should take note of that for later. Reynor leaving this Overlord out front a little long. He's got 6 Queens, 28 Zerglings. Remember, these Queens don't do good damage, so Queens are good anti-air. They're good for helping defend Banshees and battle cruisers, but relying on 6-7 Queens, you know, it's... they can tank damage, but the damage they deal is way weaker than what a lot of players are used to, so I definitely feel like one has to be a little wary. He's got the Evo Chamber, so he could turn a few of these into Swarm Queens. 50 energy, but they take a few seconds to morph. It's not instantaneous, so Reynor trying to get away with massive greed right now. Infestation pet goes up on that side. Lots of unique upgrades in this map. This mod, if you guys haven't seen it, you'll see that as the game goes on, I think why pro gamers love this mod so much is they get to play exactly the same way they've been playing for years. And then as the game goes on, it's just, oh, there's a cool upgrade that makes this style better. Oh, there's a cool upgrade or bonus which allows me to do this micro or this interaction. And the early game build, of course, changing for Zerg a bit with the Queens is probably the bigger thing. But outside of that, a lot of the compositions you can see being very similar. And this is just going to be a fast Hive attempt for Reynor. 5 gas. We want him to make Hive immediately here. Yeah, instant Hive. 6 minutes 50. Very nicely timed there. Big, which StarCraft 2 pros are better at adapting to change? The ones that retired 10 years ago. No, just kidding, guys. Yeah, definitely. It's Hero's really good at just basically playing off vibes. He doesn't rely on an exact build order with exact, like, down to the second timing, so he's always naturally very good. Ooh, here we go. Shin's very good for Zerg. Hero for Protoss. For Terran, Clem's really good at feeling his way through. Clem has such good mechanics as well that he's often able to make things work where other players can't. And he's so good tactically and at sensing where he is. And he often puts a bit of time and thought into a new patch. But I wouldn't say he's really a build trendsetter. He's good at kind of just adapting and finding things that work pretty well and getting used to the new game flow. But it's probably like your Gummihos, your TYs who really figure out the ironed out builds. Zest, traditionally for Protoss, would figure out the new builds for Protoss. But he's obviously retired. I don't think anyone's really replaced Zest as the guy that sets the meta for Protoss. Hero influences things, but most people can't emulate his chaotic style very well. And yeah, Classic and the like are a bit more defensive. Zest was very good at macro, but he would hit these very sharp timing attacks that would translate well to average Joes. And it's kind of the same for Shin for Zerg. Great average Joe timing attacks. Vester's looking for the ambush. ByuN being elusive, this high ground is a really good area to slow push from for Terran. Once you move into the open, you can get swarmed. Double drop on the left could ruin this base. So Reynor needs the ambush. Here we go. 4 Marines run forward. The Infestors using their little auto attack hilariously. You can see big splash damage there from those siege tanks, but Marines are going to stem in from the north. ByuN's going to clear their creep and go for a big push. Massive Zergling counter on the other side. +2 carapaces in. No +2 attack here for ByuN. ByuN's SCVs need to get out of there, man. His SCV is going to take big damage. He let the Marines wrap around him on the natural a little bit. His third gets absolutely smashed. Marine tank moves in. The Queens can buy a little bit of time, but at the same time, Fungal Spore and Zerglings clean up every Marine in the north side. This is really bad for ByuN right now. He needs to find more damage. The Infestors are coming forward. Fungal catching some of the Marines. The Infestors not being targeted down yet by the siege tanks. He lands a Fungal, but that should wear off. Oh, if any of the Marines are still alive at the end of it, and the answer is not many, only 7. That should be a game-winning counter. He killed the 4th base, 24 SCVs. Reynor has only lost 4 drones, and he's kept his 4 bases alive. An excellent trade for Reynor. And this is the joy of skipping Banelings. He was able to get out lots of Infestors, Hive Tech, Ultras. And yeah, it's kind of hard to just shut down the opponent's army. But if your opponent overcommits to a 2-prong push like that, they don't have enough units at home, and you can do very well. I do think if ByuN cancelled the command center, which of course he did, but if he also grabbed all the SCVs and quickly mineral walked them to his natural, yeah, that wouldn't have been as bad. But, you know, if he loses 12, 13 workers, I think that's obviously much better. 24 is so many. that Reynor now has complete control. And of course, Reynor could easily go spy a Baneling Nest here. I think would be the right way to do it. And yep, it's it. He's going to transition directly to Ultra Lingbane Corruptor late game. When you're ahead like this, there's no reason to go all in. Like, if ByuN throws an army away, you catch it with Fungal, great, take the win. But you don't need to focus on it. He's only got 2 Infestors, funnily enough. I think a few more Infestors would give him a lot of power. Queens do push back the Medevac. Remember, Queens do 10 damage. Oh my lord, that Widow Mine, 27 kills. Great micro for ByuN. Finding value in a tough situation here. Exactly what he needed to do. Lings coming on the other side. They get cleaned up. Command Center will lift. These Marines avoid Fungal. It's tempting to boost back, actually, and unload on the Infestors in a game like this. There's a Lib, a tank, a few Widow Mines, and a Marauder. It is not possible for Reynor to push in there. Reynor keeps his 5th base alive, which is nice. He's building 24 drones. Holy moly, Reynor. There's playing StarCraft, and then there's just clicking buttons. I think he's in clicking button mode right now. And he's far enough ahead, he could probably get away with it. But that... I've been playing a lot of Zero Space. I was playing a lot of Age of Empires. I've been playing a lot of new RTS games. Figuring out RTS games for the first time. And 24 drones at once, like, that's the sort of move that reeks of those moments in those games where I go, okay, I'm in the late game. There's a lot going on. I need to just click all the upgrades and make sure I'm spending my money. Reynor finds a good fight. No Fungal on those Marines, unfortunately. I think he could have landed a nice one. He's probably chasing a little too far now. But maybe if he can breach that ramp. Ultra trying to get up the ramp. Fungal lands on a few of these guys. Counter drop is hitting him at the same time. The Widow Mines taking out some of the Infestors, but the Ultra's getting great damage. And you can see that Marine drop looks like got cleaned up on that side. The Ultra's trying to get in. The Libs are cleaning this up. Oh, for those who don't know, Libs are different. I haven't talked about the Libs yet because we haven't seen that much Liberator talk. Liberators do... Oh, actually, is Liberator different? I'm not sure. I know the Thor is different. I'm not sure about the Liberator. Looks similar. The Liberator might be the same. Liberator's getting some good shots off, but ByuN, he's just a bit too far behind, and Reynor happy to trade these cheap Zerglings away. That Burrowed Ultralisk somehow still alive. It almost died to the Widow Mine splash. The reveal there with the scan, he clicks that Ultra to make sure it doesn't escape. But ByuN, he's lost another 27 workers. It's 96 workers for Zerg. And Reynor is just far too rich in this game. Link's getting in the natural. Doing some good damage there as well. Really well played. Well played here by Reynor. He's got the Corruptors on the way. He's got both Ultra upgrades. 2-3 for melee carapace, plus 3 is almost done. And this is just the perfect transition. I think when you're playing an Infestor style, you kind of wait for the Terran to step out or wait for him to move out to take a base and then you jump on him. Whenever he's not perfectly set up, the Fungal is so dynamic, the Master Ling is so powerful. And you can see now, Corruptors can just clean up the Medevacs, the Libs every fight. And that was the last thing keeping him alive in this game. 2 Banelings. Oh my lord! Oh! He actually moved that last Baneling a bit deeper than he had to, but still 7 SCVs go down. Lib Siege is up on a Spore, only gets 4 drones. Ultra Zergling on the front. Corruptors absolutely mincing those Medevacs. The Widow Mine's going to get dragged onto the Bio. One onto the Corruptor does take it out. But these Corruptors, man... They are doing such good value. And of course, they unzip their flies to show him the Italian football hooligan celebration, which is urinating on the bus stop, or in this case, your opponent's base. Very well played. Very well played. Does take it out. Only 4 Corruptors have gone down. Rain is all over this game. Of course, ByuN too far behind in this one. Do wonder, man. 3 Rax Reaper, Proxy 2 Rax Reaper. Feels like Reynor is very kind of Queen Zergling brained. Hasn't seen a lot of Roach openings for him, and I think forcing him into Roaches early could be a nice way to take advantage of those weaker Queens in the early game. I mean, we also haven't seen really fast Hellbat timings, and one has to think, you've got Hellbat timings. Hellbats are plus 10 hit points. Right? They move a bit faster. One of the main things that defeats Hellbat timings is Queens kiting backwards and shooting them down. Like, you don't have Queens. You've got players consistently playing Mass Zergling. And as much as I love how many new things are being used by the players, like, oh, let's do a Reaper Pressure, he doesn't have the things to deal with it. No new upgrades except Concussive Shells, which also gives Reaper Grenades a slowing effect, but he was just getting it for the Concussive Shells for the Marauders, of course. It's called Concussive Grenades in this mod. And we were finally starting to get the Lifesteal upgrade for the Ultras. But I think if you look at Reynor's style here, really late Baneling Nest, really late Roach Warren, I think ByuN's kind of letting him get away with some murder. And needs to be a little bit more decisive about punishing Reynor's greed and thinking about, if you mix in a Hellbat timing, mix in a Proxy 2 or 3 Rex Reaper. These are 2 things off the top of my head. The other thing I'm thinking about is if Reynor does get too afraid of those sort of things, starts playing Roach builds, playing lower Queen count, something like a battlecruiser could be a very good opening. Scary thing about opening battlecruiser is if Reynor's just still playing 7-8 queens every game, and especially if he rushes an early carapace. Remember, actually, sorry, it's only with hydras get double benefit from carapace against air. Queens don't get that. So I was about to say, problem is if you go a battlecruiser, he's got 7 queens, they're going to take very little damage from the battlecruiser. But actually, that's only hydralisks that get double benefit of armor upgrades, but only against air units. It's like a really weird, unique interaction. So hydras are way better versus air, especially frequently attacking units like BCs, Mutalisks, and what would be the Protoss one? Void Rays as well, I guess? Void Ray carriers. Carriers as well, of course, because carriers have 2 attacks, which means you're getting double that bonus armor modifier. All right, going into the next map. Also, I forgot to say, queens actually don't have their starting armor either, right? It's not only they do less damage, they don't have the armor, so battlecruiser would be really good against those queens. It would do 1 more damage a shot. For those who don't know, battlecruisers shoot like 6 times a second or something ridiculous. So that's it. It's like, you know, it's like 6 extra DPS. It's pretty damn impactful, man. Definitely battlecruisers could be a lot better as well. So battlecruisers, Hellbat timings, lots of things available. Don't expect ByuN to take too much advantage of them. We'll see how it goes. Patches has actually said, I was actually really hoping Clem would play in this tournament, because in Patch Clash 9, in number 7, he used a ton of new things, and the mod isn't localized in Korean yet. So even though I've got the patch notes document translated, Patches is saying basically if they hover over tooltips, it's all in English. And the problem with that is obviously a lot of the players, as they're playing the mods, kind of need to remind themselves of like, hey, what does this upgrade do again? What does that upgrade do when you're first playing it? And the English-speaking players can do that. But if you're a Korean player who's going to, unless you're Solar, who can obviously very fluently read and speak English, it's going to be a little bit harder to remember all the little details. Whereas a guy like Clem, who's way more fluent in English, obviously as a Frenchman. Sorry, I'm just laughing because, you know, 100 Years War and all that history. Who knew after all this time the French would speak better English than the English would speak French? I always, you know, you go back 600 years, you'd probably think it'd be the other way around. Hey, it is what it is. Hell, we all know a couple of French words though. We all know a couple of French words wherever you are in the world, which is nice. Anyways, point being, Clem apparently was really good at using a lot of the things, which is really cool to hear. I would be curious to see. I think Clem is one of the most natural players at picking up an RTS and just playing. As much as I always give credit for his mechanics, because it is such a big part of what allows him to do the things he does, he's very, very quick at picking things up. He can pick up any new RTS, and he will immediately be a top player in like a brand new RTS. It's not like I feel like it'd be interesting to see him play maybe like a Beyond All Reason or something like that, or maybe like an AoE 2, where I think it's a bit more different to StarCraft, where it might take him a little bit more time to learn the basics, but I still feel like, you know, you give him a bit of time to get over those basics, he'll have one of the fastest learning curves. So I think I put Clem up with like players like Scarlet in terms of just players that pick things up incredibly quickly, and make you feel like a bit of an idiot when you look at how fast they learn compared to most of us. Command Center first here for ByuN in game 2. Tied up 1-1. ByuN's advantage from winning the previous set has been removed. We're going to see a delayed gas once again here for Reynor. This is such a greedy build. This dies to anything, right, guys? Like, I guess he's seen Command Center first, but it's not like he'd already decided to play gasless, I think, before that point. I feel like Reynor is flipping coins based on his expectation. He's like, hey, ByuN, he's going to play Command Center first after 2x Reaper, because that's what ByuN does. He rotates aggressive builds and Command Center first builds. That's like what ByuN does right now. And I feel like Reynor is kind of predicting ByuN's pattern correctly right now and getting away with it. He's going to go Roach in second gas now, but this would not have been ready for like really early Hellion aggression off gas first. An early Hellbat timing. This is going to maybe barely have the Roaches in time, but keep in mind that the Hellbat movement speed increase as well as the 10 hit points is really big. If you've only got like 5 Roaches popping and the Hellbats are already on your base on top of your queens and stuff, it's hard to get those Roaches together to kite the Hellbats down. You're gonna take a bit of damage. Yes, this is a 12 worker mod, guys. It's think of this as all the patch changes from the last round of patches, like couple rounds of patches over the last 2 months being removed, but then like Patches has obviously been adding his own unique ton of upgrades and changes and all sorts of things for a while. Liberators will prioritize high hit point targets, guys, so they will naturally target a queen. Well, they would always target a queen over a Zergling, but, you know, they'll target a queen over a Hydralisk, an Ultra over a Zergling, that sort of thing. Also, if you get Lib range, it's +3 range, not the +2 in the live version of the game that they got nerfed to maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Double Engineering Bay coming in, so it's going to be a very greedy follow-up behind this. So it's a few Marines dropping 3 Hellion run by, Lib behind it. ByuN's going to try and stay really active with these units, punish the lack of mobility from no Ling speed. There are 3 Queens up front. Roaches following this. Overlord does go down, so that's 2 Overlords so far. Queens do almost no damage. Remember, they only do 5 damage. The Hellions can absolutely dive in there and cause a bit of havoc, but for now, Reynor is getting away with this. 1-1 upgrades coming in. 2nd and 3rd barracks are building. Liberator will add a 3rd prong. You can see he's already queued that to siege inside the main base. Reynor's going to take a 4th base. Reynor's opening was so greedy that I feel like ByuN should be in a better economic position than he is comparatively. But the opening was just so solid for Reynor. Fast 3rd, gasless, gets away with murder. And now he's on 60 drones, taking a 4th. ByuN needs to find something. That Spore Crawler. Oh my god, it's brilliantly timed. I think it's just in range as well, right? Oh, it's just out of range. Never mind. Ooh, Liberator targets the Queen. Not quite able to get her. Marines on the north side. They're clicking the hatchery. I don't think they'll get that one, though. They pick up. Only 1 Marine goes down. 4 drones. Spore Crawler does take out the Liberator. Queen's moved out of position, as did these Roaches. Good Evo chamber, though. Brilliant, brilliant Evo chamber. But the drones are still stacked up, and the Marine drops in the main, picking off workers there. Oh, my lord. Oh, my lord. The Hellions. Oh, my god. Anyone call for some barbecue? That is 19 drone kills, and the Marines survive. Well worth the Hellion and the Liberator that traded themselves for this, because behind it, 1-1, almost done. Stim's there. 3rd base is landed. I mean, this is just excellent play here for ByuN. And I think he's done the damage. I was saying, oh, it's kind of a bummer because it feels like he needs to do damage, whereas normally you wouldn't need to do damage with this opening. Well, he found the damage, and I think he's happy with that. He's very happy with that. Infestation pit on the way here for Reynor. I wonder if he plays like a Lurker Viper style. We don't see that very much these days, but could be good. Concussive Shells is already on the way here. That's got to be a mistake, guys. That's meant to be combat shields. He's just lost a medevac as well, and he's making the wrong upgrade, which means these Marines are going to be combat shieldless for the rest of this series, I think. Or this game, I should say. There's no way you want Marauders at this point. He's on pure Marines. He's actually starting Marauders. Wait, he's got 2 tech labs? 3. Hold on. Oh, he is going 3 tech labs. I mean, you still want to go combat shields first. Because he's playing against Mass Roach, he's actually going 3 tech lab, 2 reactor. That's a lot. And I think he might go straight tech lab and just do a giant tank Marauder push. I mean, this does look indeed like it's going to be a Lurker style, but no Hydroden down yet, so one has to wonder what Reynor is doing. Like, what's the hive for? A few Roaches here in the main. Spore Crawler as well. Another Overlord goes down. The double drop finds some decent damage. 1-1 upgrades against just +1 Carapace. Good focus fire for ByuN. Finds a little bit of damage. Remember those Queens. Crazy anti-air damage. Very good anti-air damage on the Queens. Roaches pushing these Marines back. Unfortunately, ByuN starts +2 attack. Armor, sorry. No +2 attack. So tragic. He should have been ahead on these upgrades, but he finds a good trade in the middle, catches a few of these bad boys. He's got to remember combat shields and +2 attack. I mean, these 2 upgrades missing is huge. He's trading well. Trading well is not good enough. Hydrogen so late in this game will slow down that Lurker tech we were talking about. Link speed's on the way, as well as 2-2 range Carapace. The trick for Reynor is going to be finding a way to get these Lurkers out quickly enough, and I think maybe spreading individual Lurkers all around the map and attacking different bases. Maybe try to win this game just by your opponent not having scans. Keep in mind, you can build Ravens right now. Ravens do not need a tech lab. You can build them out of a reactor. You can also, they're different. They're very different, but it's a detector still. It's a detector that's much more accessible for Terran. One of the big problems with Terran in StarCraft 2 has always been inaccessible detection outside of their orbitals, which of course are a core part of their income. Oh, Hive Tech Roach upgrade. He's going to go 1 supply Roaches, guys. Bifurcated Carapace. That's what he wanted the Hive for. He doesn't even need the Lurkers just yet. He's going to add a Hydra Tech, but he's literally just playing Roach Ravager Infester with 1 supply Roaches, of course. I mean, he's going to have 30+ Roaches. That's going to give him 30+ supply. Wow, I totally forgot. Of course you want to do this upgrade. Usually people do this against mech, not as much against bio, but I mean, you're going to have some units compared to what people are used to that it will absolutely allow Zerg to swarm with roaches in the late game. 3 more barracks building here. ByuN's got 2 factory tech labs pumping. 4th command center hasn't lifted out yet. He finally made his +2 attack, and his combat shields is almost done as well. So gladly for the ByuN fans, he is still focusing on all the important things. Sorry, bit of a miss button press there. Hey, dodges the fungal, dodges the bile. Very nicely played. Now, for those who don't know, if you fungal a transport, it can't pick up units. In the live version of the game, if you fungal a marine, it can't get inside the medevac. But if you fungal the medevac can still pick the marine up. And in this patch, that's changed. So it's kind of a subtle thing. Same for prisms, same for overlords. So if you fungal the transport, it'll stop units from getting inside just the same. Makes it a bit easier to land those spells sometimes. Ooh, nice fungal. Gonna take out a bunch of those marines and marauders. Hatchery does get sniped though. Back to 4 bases with a new 5th building in the north. 2 command centers, more marauders, and more tanks are building behind this. It's a big push. A lot of roach ravager here. Bifurcated incubation is going to give 1 supply. Roaches only now about to kick in. You can see 20 supply just freed up then. A lot of supplies in ravagers and hydras, which don't benefit from this upgrade. It's only the roaches that do. Actually, you guys can remind me, have I been saying ravagers are 3 supply all tournament long? I think he might have changed it, so maybe they're only 2 supply with this upgrade? I can't remember. Here we go. Massive push on the right, though. These guys down here in the bottom as well. We've got the roaches coming in to focus the marauders down. The tank's going to go down as well. So many units falling on both sides. But look at this. He's going to have to fight soon. The Infestor, she's got full energy. She throws a really nice fungal, as do the hydras there. The roaches, ravagers, and hydras trying to get on top of the tanks. But that is a deep Terran line. And that is incredibly hard to breach. The biles are coming down. These are rapid expulsion. No, they are not. Rapid expulsion's not ready yet. The biles take a while to come down. The drop in the bottom left has gone down one more time. The tank position remains in the middle. ByuN may just have Reynor in a position where it's a bit too hard for him. Reynor, I think, could not let ByuN get such a far forward position. The 1 supply roach upgrade kicks in just a bit too late, and he's into hydras, infestors, everything that's not pure roach now, so it doesn't even help that much. And I think Reynor needed to be a little bit more proactive about using a power spike. That is an upgrade that doesn't really give you a power spike. It just gives you more supply a little bit later, but it was ByuN who found the timing before that upgrade really gave any tangible power boost. That being said, holy crap! Every medevac just got busted by fungal hydra. There's no marine marauder support, barely any. And Reynor gets a crazy hold. ByuN just took Reynor to town. And then Reynor goes forward, busts the position. Absolutely insane trade. That is crazy. We do have a confirmation from chat. Ravages are actually 3 supply. Roaches still... Okay, so Ravages are... Yeah, there is that dynamic I was talking about. But that is interesting. Ancillary Carapace is coming, guys. That's plus 10 hit points for the Hydras. They are 100 hit point Hydralisks. He's also got Rapid Expulsion, which means Ravager Biles will land a lot quicker. Tanks, Ghosts, good units building for ByuN. But he's not really got, like, the mass command center set up just yet, right? It's 5 orbitals, which is not bad. He does need to keep building command centers and taking them and finding good fights, but I think this was probably 3,000-4,000 resources more efficient than it is right now. It's only 2,000 difference between, not even 1,500 resources between the two of them. Of course, ByuN's on 4 bases with 7 more workers than the Zerg. Roach Hydra, usually not the most efficient supply army. In this case, with 1 supply roaches, it could be. Not too keen to build more roaches into mass marauder tank, though. Even with them only costing 1 supply, it doesn't feel super clean. Hydra's here. Watch out. ByuN goes too deep and he gets punished. Disastrous trade for ByuN. Oh, man. You know, it's so funny. Because I feel like as much as I joke about Hero being a Gold League Protoss player and the best Protoss player of all time, far better than Serral combined in one body, I think ByuN, there is mid-game ByuN, and he really is, like, it's just Clem. You're literally just watching Clem. It's clearly the best Terran in the world. And then there's this moment where he's like, oh god, you've got Hive Tech. I have to take a 5th base and build late game things. Like, I don't know if it's when his Ghost production starts. There's something that switches in ByuN's head where he will go from really efficient trades to throwing his army away into the meat grinder repeatedly. And then he'll go, oh, okay, now I'm behind. And then he'll start playing really efficiently again with, like, Ghosts and Tanks and Thors and things. And you're like, I just feel like there's a clear, consistent weakness in ByuN's game, which is like early, late game, when he's still got a lot of Marines and Marauders and kind of what he sees as units that aren't going to scale too well. And I think he's a bit inefficient he forces trades with them rather than waiting for an efficient trade. And throws away a lot of his tempo sometimes. It's been a good game for ByuN, you know? But you overcommit find him in a position where it's, you know, it's admittedly 4-base versus 4-base. Arcanitis comes in on the north side. Oh, big fight for ByuN. He just goes for it. Zero fear. And Reynor, no support for those lurkers. That is going to hurt. But Reynor, he's going to blitz across this side of the map. Can he get the medevacs? No, he can't. Command Center is going to pick up to try and fly away. There's not enough Hydras to kill that Command Center very easily, but, ooh, maybe. Nope. Good save for ByuN. 5th base is only just finished rebuilding here for Reynor. Reynor has got 3-3, but he's not got melee upgrades, and he really needs to build those if he wants to mix in Zerglings, if he wants to mix in eventually Banelings, maybe a transition into Ultras or something like that. But for now, the problem is Ghost tank counters his whole army, and against this army, generally Broodlords are the answer, especially with 3 factories building tanks, and I do think a cheeky Broodlord tech switch is very necessary. ByuN has forgotten to get the upgrade that gives reduced splash damage to light and bio units from your siege tanks. That would be an amazing upgrade in this game. He's also got a lot of medevacs, so he could get the tank evac upgrade as well, would be huge. Siege tank gets taken out there in 3 volleys. Planetary getting absolutely hammered. Has to lift off for now. His Nidus Worms popping up all over the map is a really good idea. He's got a Burrowed Infestor waiting up north. These lurkers run away. They don't want to just die. He's going to try and run around this backside while attacking the north. Only 1 tank up here in the north. Oh my lord. They really did put their worst soldiers on top of the wall. The Wildling Zergs coming over the top here. He does get back with the reinforcements, but that northern base, there's no planetary here. You got to be really careful right now. He's just going to stim into the Hydras. Crazy fight for ByuN. Cops, massive fungals, but there's no Banelings there. And the Hydras did not have the firepower to get through. Reynor gets both the prettiest and the ugliest engagement in 2. That there was a 2-headed ogre, guys. But the ogre, 1 head, most beautiful, beautiful woman you've ever seen. And the other one was just a straight-up ogre. The fungals were perfect. But the rest of it, the Hydras just weren't in great enough numbers. No Banelings, no Ultras, nothing to really capitalize on top of the amazing fungals. And now ByuN just counter shoves. Remember, these ghosts only have 85 hit points. They don't have the crazy bonus damage from the live version of the game. Those medevacs need to pick these units up and get them out of there. But I think overall, with the 5th base established, 4 tanks there, these trades are good for ByuN. You can see now a 4,000 difference gap between the 2. Melee upgrades only now coming in. And 7 ghosts, 10 tanks. Hard to break this. If you could pivot into more of a Hydra, Lingbane, Viper army, right? That would be pretty good here. That would be kind of nice. A round of Broodlords would just annihilate this base. Remember, Broodlords do plus 15 damage to structures. I think it's an upgrade, right? I believe it's an upgrade you've got to get. But still, I mean, they'll bust planetaries like no tomorrow, and they'll make the tanks friendly fire. ByuN's late game has always been predicated upon mass siege tank. Guys like Maru and Clem will often be much more Ghost Liberator heavy, which is technically the better army long term, but it's harder to get to. ByuN always relies on mass siege tanks as a bit of a crutch. He's actually building 2 more factories now. They're probably for reactors. Probably wants to mix in some Widow Mines and Hellbats in case there's a Lingbane transition. But it's one of those things you really want to focus on. Oh, guys, he's going to get fire suppression protocol. That means there's little drones which repair buildings up to 50% health, free of cost. So your buildings will not burn down on their own ever again. Siege tank's going to get a few shots off. Lurkers will be forced to burrow a little bit further away. Couple snipes go down. 3 lurkers do fall south side though. Not much support for these siege tanks. Ooh, those siege tanks going to be getting blasted by the lings and the lurkers. Nice move for Reynor, but Reynor's of course down on supply. He needs more of this. Sniping the command center, the minimum. Because there's a 5th and 6th base in the top. He's now going to rotate his whole army. Reynor needs to give up on this gold base. If there's one thing I've identified since day 1 on this map is Reynor sees gold base, and Reynor is the greediest Zerg in the world. He just can't. He's like, I have to fight for this. It's right next to a Terran base. There's only one strategic option here. It's rally your whole army to the north, smash this expansion, and then you can maybe remax and smash this base and secure the gold. But right now, he's going mass lurker. He's going to channel rogue. Okay, that's not the play I would normally associate with Reynor, but I like it, taking inspiration from a guy who has shot up the world rankings, Rogue, dominating the matchups. Even every time they nerf the Zerg buffs that happened initially on this patch, Rogue keeps winning almost everything. Lurkers coming in, tanks going down, Planetary will get busted, and that's a Rogue move if I've ever seen one. 20 Lurkers just rock up. He's still got 4 up north as well. If he can get a Nidus Worm on the production, that'll be big. He fungles the siege tanks, which is very cute, gets one of them. Super cute play there for Reynor. The Infestor turns to shoot the Marauder. Throws a little snot ball at the Marauder. Might not do a lot of damage, But sometimes it's not about direct damage. Sometimes it's about sending a message. And every time I see an Infestor throw a little snot ball at a unit, every time I see a High Templar throw a little snowball at someone, I think, yeah, you go tell him. It's I don't know if you guys have ever seen like footage of like when a dude's trying to like rob a place and the old lady just starts like hitting him with a broom or something. And the guy's like kind of too embarrassed to fight back. I think that's what the Infestor is hoping for when it attacks a Marauder with a snot ball. It's like, yeah, you have no respect. You're out here causing havoc, you dirty Marauders. Why don't you get a real job instead of robbing from hardworking people? You know, it's about the attitude. Siege tank with an extra scan does take care of that one. Orbital, you do not want to land there, my friend. At least you'll find out. Oh, oh, he's on hold fire. He's on hold fire. Reynor looking for a trap. Lings are going to find a bunch of tanks up north. So many siege tanks, he can't really get in range. Oh my god. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hold Fire! Huzzah! Good pickup for ByuN. Great reaction speed. Most players would have lost even more there. Beautiful reaction speed for ByuN. Have you guys seen the guy? What's the streamer's name? He's like a middle-aged British dude who's always wearing like a colonial British military uniform. And he's always shouting at the boys to charge and stuff. I feel like that guy was absolutely in charge of those lurkers. Hold! Hold! Fire! The ghosts are going to cloak and defend that side. He's going to drop down the bottom side as well to push back the drones. Marines, Ghosts, and Marauders doing their thing. Lurker's doing very well. Spiffing Brit? Has Spiffing Brit been doing that? Oh, maybe I'm thinking of someone else. Maybe there's a few guys. It's a fun bit. I do like those, watching the sort of gameplay that you end up with those, like, historical first-person fighting games is pretty funny. You know, everyone's like, Battlefield 1942, 2342, and then you've got, like, the bunch of middle-aged dudes who are like, this is Battlefield friggin' 1812, man. Like, they're like, I get to shoot once every 30 seconds. In between that, I'm cleaning my musket, brother. Like, you know? Like, how good is your musket reloading micro, brother? Like, oh yeah, sometimes I go back to 1500s. We play blunderbuss battles. It's friggin' amazing. Lurker's gonna burrow forward. Tanks are gonna struggle. But this is so costly. Every time Reynor pushes forwards like this, ByuN's making him pay a very heavy price. He does get a few ghosts there, remember? The Lurker spines are also 20% slower in this mod, so Lurkers do cap out a little bit weaker. You can see these spines travel a little bit slower. It does weaken the impact of the Lurker. I don't know if it lowers their DPS, because maybe they need to wait for one shot to finish before the next shot starts recharging. I don't know if that's an impact that Patches has looked at at all. Maybe that's just me imagining things, because I doubt that's how it works. Probably instantly starts recharging, but you do have to be careful, because sometimes if you change the animation speed with some attacks in some RTS games, it does actually slow down the overall damage output, because they need to like finish one animation before they start cooling down for the next. But I don't think Lurker spines work that way. Could be wrong. We haven't seen much changes here. I think at the end of the day, you've got, you know, faster Ravager bios for Reynor, but he's not been using the Swarm Queens to spread creep. He's using the Lurkers and Lings. He's keeping ByuN relatively contained. He's got a big bank, but I just think ByuN here has 7 orbitals now, and he can take this base very slowly. He's got these bases mining up top, which is important, as long as he can deny the gold. Like, Reynor right now needs to be mining this base and the gold base to put pressure onto ByuN. I also think a Swarm Queen with the creep upgrade could be running around dropping creep tumors so that he could be starting these battles on creep spread. Like, there's no reason why creep shouldn't be to here, right? And this is one of the things no one's really used effectively in this tournament, is that queen upgrade. You can just run queens around, drop creep everywhere. It's such a big boost. It's a lot of tanks. Things trying to get in. Tanks are on both sides. Things will find a few of these siege tanks, and that means the SCVs are exposed. Oh my. SCVs quick to evacuate though. Pretty good reaction. Lurker Nidus in the main. Takes out the Changeling, clears the Nidus, but on the front, ByuN has a lot of things to micro right now, and as much as ByuN, I think, is winning this game, even though Reynor's bank is massive, it's like one panicky mistake away from everything falling apart. And I mean, looking at that bank, I think it's wrong of me to say he's winning. I'm saying he's in a position which, if he plays perfectly, he should win, but no one plays a perfect game, and especially ByuN does not like sitting here defensively. Now, you can see those auto-repair drones come out, extinguishing the fires. They will repair that planetary back to half-life free of charge, which is awesome. He's going to repair it manually anyway, which makes perfect sense. Blinding Clouds coming in. Big Blinding Clouds. Held that Ghost, though, will clear the Zerglings. All those Zerglings get annihilated. Command Center is very vulnerable, but the Hydras are getting sniped, and that is the sort of fight that just looks devastatingly efficient for ByuN. He's up 9,000 in the resource trading. He needs to go better than that long term. But look at this. The gold base just started mining. He's going to instantly deny it. And this is why, for Reynor, there's very much a push and pull, where when he's like leaning on you and focusing on you, if he could just find a moment to get these bases mining during those moments, it would be good. But he has a tendency to only take them as he kind of lets the pressure up a little bit. And that means those bases don't survive long, because the opponent immediately bounces down there and shuts them down. Of course, this is naturally just the way StarCraft flows for a lot of the time. Can't do everything at once. It's one of those things where if he could push himself to that limit, maybe get a bit better at it, it could be a big benefit. Baneling's rolling in. Huge counterattack for Reynor. He gets another planetary on the right. Dude, if he breaks this planetary on the left as well, it's crazy. The Ghosts do unload. And I gotta say, these trades, I think, are good for Reynor. It's 10,000 resources each. Every time he breaks through the front, like, ByuN's not ready for it. Now, ByuN's got a massive army. And he's thinking about counterattacking, which is kind of wild, but also probably the correct answer here. He's like, okay, screw this. I'm sick of defending. My name's ByuN. I like attacking. I hate defending. But no, he just reasserts a bit of map vision, pulls back, and Reynor is finally going to go Broodlords. Excellent choice against the 19 siege tanks. I think there's almost always a big place for Broodlords. Even if you just build 5-6 Broodlords, you can go forwards and just break any position where there's any tanks on their own. Snipe the tanks, pick up a few SCVs, run away, because Ghosts can't be everywhere. But then you'll force Thors, you'll force Vikings, units which ByuN does not want to be building. So it overcomplicates his composition, forces him into the wrong units. And that in of itself is a nice way to gain advantages. No Overseer up here. Lurkers will evacuate, realizing they cannot answer Cloaked Ghosts and scans. This northern base is not mined out either. Reynor is just not able to mine either of the middle bases, which means long term, that's why I was kind of saying, you know, Reynor's losing this. Because if he was mining these for the last 6-7 minutes when he's had complete map dominance, he's mined most of these resources. That's direct damage to ByuN's bank. If he's not denying them, which he's not right now, ByuN eventually will take them. It's going to take time, but he will eventually get there. And you're going to see Reynor's bank obviously run out much faster because he's already mined out most of these bases. Still got a fair few minerals left, but for how much longer, you know? Keep in mind, 2250 gas per assimilator on this map. Not the 2,000 from the live game. Corruptors are coming in as well as a second Spire. Love to see those air upgrades added. He does have the Siege Tank Medevac upgrade, by the way, so ByuN can pick up tanks in Siege mode, but it puts them into tank mode. So basically it sucks them inside the Medevac, so you can still pick 2 Siege Tanks up. When you unload them, they will be unsieged. Sling coming in the left side. Siege Tanks with no Hellbats, no Ghosts. Bit of a mistake here for ByuN. Perfect Ling run by here for Mr. Ray. Another Siege Tank further back. 36 kills, 13 kills, 26 kills, 3 kills on that Hellbat. He's going to push forward and even deny this middle base. I mean, ByuN only needs to deny the edges. The fact that he's denying this middle base as well is huge. And you're going to see these banks get closer and closer. Reynor's making 11 Broodlords, but it's so late and it just got scanned. Thors and Vikings are being made, as is so often the case when players play against ByuN. It's only when everything else fails they think to play Broodlords. That is a very repeatable, clear strategic error. Something players are so busy in these EVT games, even though they have this happen to them a lot, it's really hard to be mentally prepared for it because you're just so mentally occupied focusing on everything. Ooh, go snipe a few Broodlords, but the Broodlords also take a bunch of damage onto them. And there is reduced splash damage to friendly units as well for those Siege Tanks. The Ghosts don't take too much damage from the Siege Tank friendly fire. Oh, this is huge. This is a massive attack for Reynor, guys. ByuN just crumbled. Did he just lose all of his Ghosts? Guys, where does Ghost go? He only saved 6. He loses the command center down the bottom. He's only got 6 Ghosts. Holy moly, he just lost everything. The Broodlord swap made him panic. The Hydraling just busted his left base. 12 workers went down. He's losing command centers left, right, and center. That's another one going down. He's only got 5 orbitals, so he can't even mass mule to recover. Oh, man. I mean, Reynor's not mining a lot. Reynor does not have a lot of mining. He's actually got less than ByuN right now, but he's got bases on every side of the map. He's up in army supply. He can use this tempo, mine these bases, mine the middle base once it's back up, and suddenly he's back in the game. Guys, remind me to rewind. I'm going to have to analyze all the fights that happened there in quick succession, because that was such a turnaround. And I'm not ashamed to say I missed it in real time. I was like, oh, this fight's kind of good. Okay, these units picking off a few ghosts. Like, he only lost 1 or 2 broods, right? How many broods did he die? Because remember, it takes 2 snipes per broodlord. 6 broodlords died, but he must have made heaps. I guess he's only got 5 left. So he did lose 6 broodlords out of the 11. He's making 3 more. I'm not sure about remaking broodlords. In a game like this, it feels like you've forced the... he's gonna build Viking Thor. Feels like he should have gone away from broods after that. Things coming in, find a few tanks. Throws away a lot of them on that Thor tank up there, but it's the SCV kills that make it all worth it, man. Absolutely massacring. He's going to look for the lib range snipe. Dude, look at how much damage these Zerglings do. Utterly crazy, isn't it? Look at that. Now, the auto repair drones are helping as well as the SCVs. Oh, he's F2ing his army down south. ByuN realizing those Zerglings are only a minor threat. Advanced Ballistics did complete before the Fusion Core went down, which is the most important part. Picks up, saves a few of these units. One of the full medevacs does go down. The Hydraling Bane looking really juicy. If you can get the Lings and the Banes on these SCVs, this could be massive. Those SCVs taking a big hit. Guys, did he make Caduceus Reactor? He did, which means these medevacs are able to heal 2 units at a time. You may have seen 2 beams coming out of one of those medevacs healing the SCVs. That's right. Medevacs not only have double the energy regenerate, they can heal 2 units at a time. It does really help in some of those scenarios. That gold base goes down yet again. Reynor has the northern base, but losing this base again is painful. This base is back up in the middle, though. ByuN's only on 20 workers. He's trying to build a new command center, but even that SCV went down, and Reynor's mobility cannot be matched. This northern base, lurkers and lings are going to go for the bust. The lings will take out the siege tank. The planetary will go down, and that might be game ready. I can't believe Reynor's going to win this game. Dude, Reynor's such a wizard. Reynor we call him the comeback kid for a reason. He never gives up. He keeps on fighting. He just looks for those engagements. It's, there are these sweaty guys who don't know how to macro at like 5k MMR, and they just refuse to leave when they've lost games. And occasionally you make a big screw up and they get back in it, and you're like, oh, I'm such an idiot. This would never happen to a pro gamer. Reynor embodies that energy while also being a good macro player and a good well-rounded player. We're like, no, there's always a chance he's going to catch you out of position. He's going to keep digging and digging and digging until he finds some gold, man. And that's indeed what he's found in this game. But ByuN's not ready to give in yet. He's got a big push up north. Yes, he loses everything in the south. And I think Reynor should base trade. If ByuN keeps pushing, you just counterattack here. Like, keep pushing, clearing planetaries, going for the production. Siege tank there on the high ground. But yeah, you lose a few Zerglings, clear the planetaries, worth it. And you don't need to fight the army. Like, you're going to tear down his buildings so quickly, right? So we've got landed Vikings and a few Marines coming back. You can maybe kite with Broodlords if any of the units get in front of the army, but otherwise, base trade seems to me like a really good way to play. He's going to pull back, though. He's going to go Infestors with Neural. He's going to try and burrow in behind and steal all the Thors and tanks and make them kill each other. Reynor wants to finish this game with the why are you hitting yourself maneuver. Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Why are you hitting yourself? Nothing like the love of an older brother. For those who don't know, Reynor is actually an older brother. Baby Marine, his younger brother, a pro Terran player. Vipers getting shot down. Broodlords fighting on their own. I don't think the Broodlords should have fought here. Fighting way too early with these broods. He's going to try and defend with the queen. A couple fungals is nice, but he's got no anti-air. No spores, no queens, nothing. That's the real problem. He has 5 spores. If he'd brought his spores over here, he could have retreated behind those spores, kept those Broodlords alive. But instead, I mean, he's only got 1 queen attacking them. That spore crawler finally pushes those Vikings back. The Hydraling goes around, denies the last mining base of ByuN. Like I said, just base trade. He should just go for the production. He's been a little reticent to do it. He doesn't realize that ByuN's been broke forever. You've really just got to go kill his buildings, and I think you've got a good spot. But the Vikings coming past, the Queen's trying to transfuse. There's not much energy on these Infestors. If you kill all the orbitals, he also cannot reveal you. There's no detection. So if you kill all the orbitals, there's no scans, and burrowed Infestors can win the game with Neural Parasite. That's why ByuN is now turning around to go home, realizing, uh-oh, I can't win this game against Infestors long term. Like, I need to go save something at home or I am dead. The Hydraling base trade is the way to play it. Just going to leave a few Zerglings there to keep tearing buildings. You do not want to get cornered with this army. Remember, there is no Hydra lunge, no nanomuscular swell in this game. ByuN chasing him with his mech army back. Few Zerglings left there to keep tearing down the buildings. Good choice. It's going to put pressure on him. You can see the auto repair drones come out when it gets below half-life. Does make your base a bit more annoying to kill. Hydraling Infestors here. How many orbitals are left, guys? 2 orbital command centers. I would absolutely be looping around from behind with the Infestors and trying to neural all the tanks. I feel like that's the play. The Lings are going to force these buildings to lift off. If he targets the orbitals, then he knows there's no scans available. The Lings are coming back right now. He's going to go for it. Oh, ByuN tastes the tentacle as he steps too far forward, and Reynor runs forward and says, "Why are you hitting yourself?" Very well played there by Reynor. Gets a lovely, lovely, lovely win from a really awkward position. I mean, we got to go watch that whole build up again and see what happened. Okay, guys, so at this point, there was some really good Ling run bys where he kept finding just tanks exposed, so that was pretty nice. A few lurkers got popped here, like really good siege push in the middle, which felt pretty good for ByuN. I think he gets caught before these units get home, right? Oh, these units are pretty far forward here. I don't know why he's pushing right now. I feel like this is a classic mistake you're going to see ByuN and Clem do pretty much every late game they're in. They're like, me sick of sitting in corner and defending, me want go attack. And it's strategically the complete wrong play. I'll never forget watching, there was a tournament where Reynor was backstage and we were watching Clem play a game. And Reynor, who's good friends with Clem, he's just going, stop attacking, just sit, he's like, just camp, you know? And Clem grabbed his army unsieged and moved out. And he just kept doing it. And the whole game, Reynor was like, just stay home for 5 minutes. And like, you can't lose. You cannot, like the only way you can lose is if you attack right now. And he was watching this Clem game and you could see him kind of going, Clem, just stay home for like 2 minutes. Like you can't. Because there's this dangerous point here where Terran Bank is like a lot lower. But also you're quite spread out. It's hard to defend these bases. So I understand you kind of want to attack. And I don't mind like a little poke on one side like that. But this attack here, I feel like is so arrogant? Unnecessary is probably a better word than arrogant. Like these units do not need to be here. Because if you look at your base, like all your supply is spread across so much. You've got your tanks spread everywhere. It's the further you go forward, the further you are from like the 50 supply of siege tanks that are spread across the map. So I think at this point is where ByuN overextends. And let's see what went wrong. So these guys seem to be cleaning up the Zerglings really efficiently on this side. But then he's not watching and the Banes and the Hydras clean up the rest of it. And Zerglings are cheap units, whereas those are expensive Terran units. So that was what started as a really good trade becoming a bad trade. And let's watch the other side. So the Lurkers are on hold fire. And then he unleashes the Lurkers. And the Lurkers ravage all the Marine Marauder Hellbat up there. Hold fire Lurkers. At the same time as the Broodlords engage the Ghosts. And the Ghosts have no Hellbats or support left on them. And that army went down. So this is like this moment in the game where ByuN tried to two-prong push deep in Zerg territory, and it's a dangerous move. I'm not saying it's always a wrong move, but it's a dangerous move. And it's a move where he got punished super duper hard. He lost so much supply, and he doesn't have the money to remax instantly. He's also got to build units to deal with the Broodlords now. And yeah, this really cost him big time. I think he was also thinking, oh, you're going Broodlords, you're swapping to a more defensive, immobile composition. I want to punish you now before your broods are out, and then I'll pull back, have Thors and Vikings ready, have the counter, and we'll be in a really good spot, right? And he just went a bit too deep, a bit too far, and kind of lost the multitasking areas. He got jumped on in 3 places at once. GG's. Very well played here by Reynor, though. Gets the game back, and honestly, a pretty wizardly recovery. All right, guys. ByuN on the bottom left side of the map. Going to Sanctuary here. T-Rex Reaper can't be resisted. He loves it on this map. Not even sure why. Just feels good for him, I guess. Reynor in the top right. Going for the old standard extractor trick there. Now, keep in mind, there's only this one ledge, right, to jump into the main. You've got a natural ramp, which is not the best because of the high ground advantage with the Queens and the Zerglings. It really shouldn't be a great map for it. And I think ByuN is really leaving money on the table by not going T-Rex Reaper. That being said, Reynor's going to go gas pool, so... Good thing he didn't take my advice and go for a proxy T-Rex Reaper. I was saying, like, man, he's got to go build 2 barracks, like, here or something. You know, he's got to, like, get in there. To be fair, I still think Reynor would struggle with it. I think even when you go for an early Ling speed, people are so reliant on Queens to support. And I think a 3-Rex Reaper can get out of control pretty decently. See how it goes. In this case, it's just going to be 2-Rex Reaper against gas pool. And gas pool does slow down your expansion cadence. Your queen is going to be a bit earlier, but expansion's a bit later. And the trick is going to be for ByuN to not get his Reapers surrounded. If he can kind of pressure, force a decent amount of Zerglings, and get his Reapers home, I think he's happy. But if he gets stuck on the map, like what ledges can he jump up and down? I think he can jump there. But that's like so close to where the Lings can run around the other side anyway. Can't really take advantage of too many other areas. Like, as a little ledge here you can jump up and down. Like, there's not that many areas you can really... There's just a few little hop downs. It's not like some maps where there's a really giant ledge where the Reapers can just go anywhere, you know? These are... I think that... I don't even know if you can jump down there. That kind of looks like it's blocked off there. So, we'll have to see how it goes. Overlord does see Reaper coming from the natural. The Zergling goes and hides itself. And of course, Reynor, I think for him, you don't want to overcommit here. You could do a Bane Bust, you could do a Queen Zergling Flood, but I think against a 2-barracks build like this, you want to chill. I think you want to like get out your 8 Lings and then just make drones. Almost gets the Reaper, but not quite. Natural's coming up. 3rd Reaper has been built. ByuN just chilling with his Reapers for now. And now that he's sent them forwards, he'll be okay. He's going to go for the command center on the high ground. Of course, he can wall off with the add-on and then allow all 3 Reapers to head forwards. Problem is the link speed's already almost done here at 3 minutes, so 8 more Zerglings. My gosh, Reynor's economy is really taking a hit. And he's going to go Overlord speed. Okay, so he's going to do the all-in. He's going to build an Evo chamber to unlock drops. You do not need a lair, guys. You can just go with hatchery tech drops in an Evo chamber. You could bring the Queens. You could also drop the main base because you got Overlord speed. It's going to be a very scary attack. And if you're not building out of these barracks non-stop, and if you're busy making a starport, some engineering bays, and all this fancy BS, especially if you don't have a bunker, this could be incredibly scary. The Reaper opening already found no damage. It's not really the best units you want in this situation. Starport goes down. Factory's not building anything. He's only building 2 Marines. Starts the 3rd Marine now. The Dropper Lord's on the way. These 3 Queens are going to be coming. Now, interestingly, he's not injecting his hatcheries more. I think it's because he figures he's got so little income. I kind of feel like he should have put 1 more inject on one of the hatcheries, but instead he wants to have a bit more transfuse when the fighting starts. He's going to go Banshee, which is useless against this. Well, it's not useless if you get Cloak, but you're never going to have Cloak in time. So, you know, really you would prefer just pure Hellions and Marines. Tank can help against this if it's somewhere protected. How do you protect something when you've got 4 Overlords that are going to be dropping Lings and Queens all over your face? I think for Reynor, he's probably going to come in from this angle and just try to drop right on top of the Marines and the Queens while the rest of the Lings flood the ramp. If he can, you know, lure the units to the front first, that would be great. But notice the way ByuN's kind of split up. The Marines, which aren't as mobile, protected a bit further in the back. And ByuN has to pull every SCV to fight with his Marines. If he brings every SCV to buffer, he can win. He needs the SCVs to protect. He needs the SCVs to protect. Good starter step. Good starter step. He's got to protect the Marines. He's got to protect the Marines. The Marines, they take a bit of damage. I think 1 Marine went down, but the Lings are getting gunned down. The wall-off getting repaired. Beautiful wall-offs in the midst of all this. Now, that top depot is going to go down if he doesn't supply drop it. And I don't think he can supply drop. He doesn't have 50 energy right now, so he will. His wall-off will get busted. Oh, the SCV gets there, but it's only 1 SCV. And the Queens will manage to finish that wall-off up. There's a Banshee out as well. I think ByuN might be holding, guys. Oh, the Banshee! She's almost going to go down. Not quite. SCVs repairing. Marines, they're doing good. They're going to try and focus the Overlord, maybe? No, they're just going to kill the Zerglings as they unload. There's enough SCVs and Marines, even dropping Lings on top. You can't get on top of those Marines. And that is going to be that. The Overlord's starting to fall here. The Banshee's still alive. Those Queens are very damaged. 1 Queen goes down. Once the other Queen goes down, the Banshee has free reign. She's still getting repaired. She has 20 Drilly Boys all taking care of her at once. And ByuN finally getting a point on the board, combined with, of course, his starting advantage in the series, will bring us back to 2-2. All right, guys, straight on to washout, top right side of the map. Keep in mind, Queens can transfuse off creep. Yes, they can. Drops available after Evo Chamber, like they were 2017, was it? 2018? When was it, guys? I think it was 2018 at the start of that year. Late 2017, early 2018, I think. The hatchery tech drops, very nice. You still need Evo Chamber to get them. There's a cool all-in for Reynor, but doesn't quite work out. ByuN, I think, realize there's a threat of something like that with a guy like Reynor. Goes for gas pool, your scouting's completely denied. Those are the sort of scenarios where you've got to watch out for it. Sometimes people go, oh, there's no way he would do this silly all-in. And against Reynor, that's always a mistake. It's Reynor. Reynor's capable of anything. 2-Rax Reaper again. ByuN loving the 2-Rax Reaper opening. This map doesn't have a ramp either. Your add-ons will be protected on the inside of your wall off, but what can I say? I've never been the biggest fan of 2-Rax Reaper. And then I'll always watch like a random game where a ByuN or a Kua just pulls it off perfectly. And I go, oh, feels like the other guy didn't even get a chance to play the game. So I might be eating my words soon enough. Now keep in mind, guys, he had an Evo chamber, and for just 50 minerals, he could have made 2 of those queens into swarm queens for 100 minerals. He could have made all 3 of them for 150. Wait, that would have actually been way stronger. Oh, I didn't even think about that, right? Because all you need is the Evo chamber to unlock swarm queen, right? Yeah, and those swarm queens do 2.5 times the damage of the regular queens, which is massive at that early stage. Nah, players leaving money on the table, man. See, Patches, this is why you shouldn't have 12 workers as your patch mate. This is the mistake you've fallen into. There's an upside. You've lulled the pro gamers into playing your tournaments because they go, 12 workers, oh, I missed that. Downside is they go, 12 workers, me play same as before. Like, no, I tricked them into playing the tournament, but now they're not gonna use the things. No, I mean, there's so many changes, and obviously players need to play multiple tournaments to like get a feel for everything. You're playing a best of 7, you're playing against the top level opponent like these guys. It's so hard to predict what your opponent's gonna do, even in a normal series in a game state, which you understand really well. And then, you know, you're gonna, in these high pressure situations, more and more go back to what you know on a kind of deeper muscle memory level. So it's kind of unsurprising that, like, he used the hatchery tech drops, which is really cool, but he didn't think about the swarm queens, which would have been the extra level of execution there. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have seen what Reynor did. He played a 5.1k Terran earlier in the tournament and built 51 swarm hosts. He had no mercy. Oh my god, that's evil. Yeah, but high pressure situations, you know, they both got more stress on them. They're not going to think about it as much. Now, guys, he's still relying on Ling Queen to defend this. This is another one of those games where it's like, dude, if he just kept building Reapers, this is like game over. He's only built 4, but even 4, he might be able to kill these queens. He's letting them get transfuse energy now. Ling Queen is not... The thing is, he didn't see the gas time. He doesn't know that Ling Speed's just started. He probably thinks Ling Speed's going to kick in at any moment. That's a queen. Yeah, Reynor's opening here is so dangerous. This is a wild opening for Reynor. Especially against a guy who loves 2-Rax Reaper. This is insano mode. And yeah, he's going to come out of it fine. Gets the 3rd hatchery up. ByuN doesn't realize that Reynor skipped gas initially to take a really quick 3rd. And as a result, Reynor gets away with murder. He's up a few workers, has a 3rd base. ByuN has a 3rd as well. I don't think ByuN's behind. I just think it's... like, he did force a lot of Zerglings, right? That is 11 drones that could have been. Killed a queen as well, which is not bad. Double upgrades should be ahead for ByuN. One of the things we've seen in this series, as well as this series against Solar and a few other players, is his upgrade leads should probably be a bit bigger than they are. But it's always he's often starting +1 straight away. It's the +2 attack that he so often forgets because the game's a little busy at that stage. And yeah, Stim's on the way, 1-1 coming in. Starport as well. Four queens, 3 more building. For those who don't know, the swarm hosts cost 25 more gas, but they are 2 supply rather than 3 on this mod, which is why Reynor would have built so many. So it's a bit more expensive to get into them, but yeah, you can just squeeze many more in at your max supply, which is friggin' awesome. It's very cool. Armory's coming in. Hello. Why, hello. Second Evo chambers there. So this is going to be the old, what, 16, 20 Marines? Maybe 6 Hellbats? It's a scary one. You hit with 1-1 shields, maybe even 24 Marines. Just building the Medivacs one at a time. So probably hits with 2 Medivacs, right? Or does he just go with 1? I think he waits. I think he waits for the upgrades. I think he waits for shields and 1-1 to be finished. And Reynor I mean, he's not got a Bane Nest or a Roachron. He's been playing straight to Infestors so much with no Roachron or no Bane Nest. Queens are going to be worthless against this. Now, you can reactively make Swarm Queens, but he's not even thinking about it. He doesn't see the move out. He has no idea. His Lings are over here. He has no idea. He's expecting a push out this ramp. ByuN going the northern ramp has completely tricked him. The Queens are caught on the front. Those Queens need to run away right now. He's making one Swarm Queen, guys, over here. It morphs in 10 seconds. He needs to pull back and morph them all into Swarm Queens. And they can deal with this, but he's got to pull the Queens way back here, and he's supply blocked. Fourth base will have to be given up. But yeah, no, ByuN wisely pushes into the third. Remember, Hellbat's 10 more hit points, and they move faster. Oh, man. Zerglings cannot engage in that. Reynor does a good job of spreading his Lings out, so they engage a few at a time. This Swarm Queen on the left is doing really good damage, but the Zerglings just get toasted. And even though now the Hellbats are gone, so are all the drones and Zerglings. Just a crisp Hellbat Marine timing. And Reynor's greed getting called out very necessarily there. I mean, I really feel like ByuN's been letting Reynor just jump through the whole early game phase without nearly as much danger as he should. I do not think Reynor should be getting through this early game relying on this queen as much as he is. I think you're really meant to be much more reliant on either units or investing specifically in those Swarm Queens to defend, one or the other. Of course, the Swarm Queen is a total of 200 minerals. It's not too bad. Only 25 more than the live game Queen, because the Queen is only 150, so it actually is not too bad. It's just its anti-air is a bit weaker, so if you blindly commit to Swarm Queens before actually realizing what's up, then it's an issue. Also, can Swarm Queens inject? I think they lose the ability to inject, right? I don't think they can be used for injecting. I think they can still spread creep, of course, but yeah. Marine Hellbat coming forwards. Reynor just coping right now. He's like, maybe I can survive. Queens are going to go down to the Widow Mines. Marine and Hellbat's doing really well. And that third base is dead. Reynor's going to have to throw in the towel in a moment. Keep in mind, guys, know that the Swarm Queen cannot inject. It gets drone sacrifice instead. So the way it works is a Swarm Queen can eat a drone for 50 energy. She can go, eat it. So if you are in a desperate position against the Hellbat, see, if you see the Hellbat timing move out, you morph those Queens or to Swarm Queens, not Swarm Hosts, Swarm Queens. And then if you're like, oh, I don't have Transfuse though, it's fine. You literally can be like, this is a desperate situation. I don't have the defense I needed. You can bring 7 drones over, eat them with your Queens, and then they've all got a Transfuse available. Or some of them might even have 2 Transfuses if they already had one. And that's kind of like, it's probably... What I don't like about this is it still focuses players on using Heavy Queen as like a Swiss Army knife to defend. I haven't played with the Swarm Queens yet, but I really like when Zerg has like more lava and is forced to rely on more units, and Queens are very much an extra thing, personally. Because for me, the Queen is kind of the ugly crutch of Zerg, that I don't like relying on a unit that is so good defensively and so weak offensively. And it does feel like with you being able to just morph those Swarm Queens reactively in just 10 seconds, you could very easily 350 minerals, right? For 7 Queens, turn them all into Swarm Queens. Like, it feels like the kind of thing Dark will never die to any aggression ever if he had these Queens. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just theory crafting here, but for me, I'm like, there's no way he loses to anything ever. Because Dark is already the king of pulling all of his Queens and like getting a defense in a situation he shouldn't be able to have it. And Reynor, if he gets used to it as well. So my first thought is that, yeah, whilst the initial Queen defense is obviously a bit softer, the Swarm Queens might be a little too good to like encourage people to still do this same sort of defense. That being said, early on, pre-Evo Chamber, huge room to take advantage of this sort of build order that Reynor's doing, especially where he's skipping link speed. But even with early link speed, yeah, I don't know. I think the Queens are very weak against the early Reapers, and I'm curious to see if ByuN starts to punish that. He's now up 3-2. He only needs one more game. All right, guys. ByuN in the bottom right side as well. Reynor in the top left. Yeah, keep in mind, guys, that the reason the Reaper difference is so big is obviously the Queens have 1 less armor. So not only do they do 3 less damage to the Reaper from 8 down to 5, but they also are going to be taking 2 more damage. Reapers do 6 damage on live game because they do 2 times 4, which becomes 2 times 3 because of the base armor. So going, basically you've got Reapers do 25% more damage. Queens do 3/8 less damage to the Reaper. It's like, just percentage-wise, overall, essentially, Queens are about 50% worse at fighting Reapers. But once the Swarm Queen comes in, she's got the extra armor. She's got massive, like really good damage, 50% extra damage from a live version queen. You know, she's not bad at all. And she can also, you know, eat drones to get transfuse energy, which is really cool. All right, ByuN's just going to 2x Reaper every game, man. And Reynor's going to go gas pool. Predicting this. But I think what he's going to aim for is 8 Zerglings. I think he goes 8 Zerglings and then tries to drone really hard. And he relies on ByuN going, ooh, you've got Ling speed, and being careful. If ByuN decides to be very cocky with this lead that he's got, manages to kind of bait the Zerglings into a bad fight, jump up and down a cliff or something like that, pick off a few of them, and then dive in and kill a whole bunch of drones. Like, there's a scenario where Reynor basically just says, oh, you wouldn't be dumb enough to gamble on diving in here when you know I have Ling speed. I've seen games before where the best Zergs in the world, they give their opponent a bit too much credit. They go, oh, you wouldn't be silly enough to try that. That's such a dumb gamble. You know I'll have plenty of Zerglings. And it's like, no. The Terran knows that you know, that he knows, and as a result, sometimes the dumb gamble in quotation marks makes sense. Specifically because you are a good player who is going, oh, it's a pretty high percentage chance I can cut this corner. Unfortunately, Reynor's not doubled his workers up, guys. Looks like this worker is going to find the correct mineral patch, and he does finally correct that. But he did lose a bit of mining time in the early game. It's kind of funny, because Reynor's one of the guys who I've seen speed mining drones sometimes, which is like an example of an extreme kind of hunt for just a few more minerals of efficiency, but he doesn't really double his workers up as consistently, especially not in high pressure matches, where I think his mind is kind of busy in the planning stage of thinking, what can I get him with? What do I think he's going to do? What can I do to deal with it? And this time you can see, fast third base, already droning on the way, second queen coming in. He's just going to chill on that high ground. Is Reaper Marine viable? We were talking earlier about how Cyclone Reaper is something some players have played. Cyclones get a big bonus to light, so they're good at clearing Zerglings, and they get the grenade gets a slowing effect. Once they get the concussive upgrade, it affects Marauders, but it also affects the Reaper grenades, which is really powerful. I think this patch is Terran favored versus Zerg. You've played a lot on this? This is Patch's mod, 12 workers start. Completely different from the live version of the game, just in case you don't know, guys in the chat. From the games I've seen, I don't know. I haven't really seen any clear advantage either way. Still feels very skill-based. The Reaper's just chilling at home. So none of the scenarios that I predicted coming to play. Basically, the Reapers are just chilling. They're not taking the risk. But Reynor got away with a good greedy opening. He did build 14 Zerglings, so it's not like he built no Zerglings. Like, it's enough. It's the correct number. Zerglings have next to no vision, by the way. See, they're a pretty short range vision unit. About 7. 7? Maybe 8? I feel like it's about 7. Evo Chambers coming in nice and fast, so early Carapace will be the play for Reynor. Double Engineering Bay. Very chilled style for ByuN. Zero assertiveness here. It's just like, I'm just going to macro. And if Reynor was playing more aggro, this would be good for ByuN. As it is, feels like Reynor has read him like a book. He's like, yeah, you're just chilling, man. And Reynor's being very greedy. Now, finally, some pressure moves out, which is so necessary. Every Zergling pair that he has to build, Reynor, is going to be one less drone. And that's all ByuN's looking for here. All he's looking for. Reaper's adding a little bit of maneuverability there as the Zerglings try to track this push across the map. Oh, nice! It's a lot of the Zerglings cleaned up. This is really good. And there's so many Lings being forced just by this move out. ByuN has no intention of pushing on creep, guys. I doubt he moves even past here. If he moves past here, I actually think it's wildly dangerous. Yeah, he already knows. He knows how dangerous this is. Because his whole move here is I want to force you to build mass Zergling. But if you surround me with mass Zergling, it's really bad for me. So I have to get home before that mass Zergling can engineer a surround. And I think he's done well enough. I think he's close to home. He can pull in behind the depot now. Factory is about to finish. And of course, the armory should go down immediately as well. Starport, but he also needs the armory as quickly as possible. And there we go. Armory goes down. Mule's going down. SCVs are building. 3rd and 4th barracks. And of course, he should be going for a 5th barracks in the near future as well. Reynor having to build all those Zerglings. 46 Lings. That's 23 less drones than he could have produced. He also lost 8 Zerglings as well. His 4th hatchery's been massively delayed. So you know, yeah, he's on 3 mineral lines, which is good, but he can't really take advantage of the gap in the pressure now to drone a 4th because it's not up. He's also building a spore in each base because he's thinking, oh, maybe there's a sneaky Banshee in here. So actually, he went from what I thought was a perfect read of ByuN's position to now ByuN's just made him scared enough that they're at similar worker counts, even though ByuN's pressure was incredibly inflexible. There wasn't much he could do with that. Yeah. The upgrades will cancel out. Carapace cancels out +1 attack. But look at that. I was saying ByuN always misses his +2, not this game. This game's very chill. There's no distractions, not a lot of interaction going on, so ByuN's macro is much cleaner. And ByuN's going to go for a 8 barracks. He's going to do a big old time, I'm going to tell you. Except these barracks are, they're faster to rally here. I kind of feel like this positioning sucks. Yeah, you want to have some units, so if a Ling runs in here, you don't want them to see these 3 barracks building at the front. It's a big tell. Infestation pit, no Baneling Nest, no Roach Warren. I don't know about this. I don't think Reynor's got this on time. Because if these 3 barracks just start rallying Marines, which they're almost certainly going to do, and he just keeps building, you know... Ooh, actually, it's Widow Mines. Oh, Widow Mines? It's quite common to go Marauders with Widow Mines, so he might build Tech Labs on those. It's a bit of a slower 8 barracks push. The faster one usually hits with siege tanks. We'll see what he's got in store. And start pushing forwards here. Oh, nice angle for the Marines. Picks up, only loses a couple of them. Good trade. And, oh, it's reactors. Wait, 1 reactor and 2 Tech Labs. Okay. So he's going to go for a Marine Marauder Mine Parade. Still a 3-base tempo play. He's got about 1.5 minutes until Ultras hit. Maybe a little bit longer than that. Maybe 2 minutes. So I'd say 10 minutes is there's going to be like kind of a hard cutoff for ByuN's momentum to get going. You can see these add-ons have just finished. Like he's got to start pumping units. And no later than 9 minutes, he needs to shove. Luckily for him, the creep is not very far out. So that's not going to slow him down too much. This 4th is obviously the prime target. 5th base is a lower priority target. It's a bonus thing. Concussive grenades coming in on the Tech Lab barracks. Widow Mines are building. Remember, Widow Mines have bigger radius on this mod. But they do take longer to build. 26 seconds a pop. Widow Mines not quite firing for a while. Finally, they do get some good shots off. But overall, that felt like a really good fight for Reynor. Look at the units lost tab. A lot of those units are Zerglings. There's no Banelings going down to the Widow Mines. You don't have these like expensive units dying for Zerg. That's something you got to worry about. ByuN, I'd love to see him heal these units on the edge. He's trying to continue pushing through the middle, but Fungal's quite scary. These Widow Mines, remember, they don't fire super fast like on the live game, so your muscle memory with that kind of going back and forth between different patches is going to be really tough. Fire shoves to the right. That's an easy deny on the 5th, but are you going to get yourself in a compromised position in order to get that? Beautiful Zergling drags there on the Widow Mines. Bio trying to fight here with the medevac healing. Marauder's doing some good tanking. Great fight there, but at the same time, Lings come in on the rally. A lot of them do get distracted. There's a double drop in the main. They cleaned up some Zerglings. This hatchery will go down. Zergling's on the 3rd, but ByuN's already evacuated it. He's 1 step ahead. ByuN's all over it. The drop in the main picks up. The units at the front are still there. ByuN's going to pull home and chill out. He's going to focus on defending that 3rd, and then he will regroup for the frontal push. Ultra Cavern is just now finishing. And because of all this fighting, there's going to be a delay on some of the upgrades. But, oh my god, I said that. Never mind. Instant chitinous plating. Instant ultra production for Reynor. Can only afford 1 to start. The Bio getting caught on that right side. A little sloppy. He's got to clean things up. Drop goes in on that left side. Medevac takes it out. Queens do 10 damage rather than 9 to air units in this version of the game. Bio in the top right side. Zerglings over there as well. It's a back and forth series here. Reynor's got the supply lead. Losing his 5th base and his 6th base doesn't matter that much. These are inconsequential hatcheries. It's like losing a barracks. As long as this 4th is protected in mining and a new 5th base on the left, he's in a good spot. But oh me, oh my. Widow Mines are blocking him from raising his wall off. That is a disaster. Oh, that's really bad. Marines pull into the choke point there between the barracks. They're going to try and defend the Zerglings. Oh, okay. Good Marine positioning will buy a lot of time there. Few Zerglings in the 3rd. SCV's trying to fight against those 2-2 Zerglings. Oof, that is rough, man. Those Zerglings in that 3rd base are doing big damage. Some Lings go into the main as well at the same time. He's going to bring it up to so many worker kills. And remember, this is a 3 command center build. This is a tempo build for ByuN. He can't take sloppy trades. But sloppy trades is the name of the game. 15 SCVs have gone down in that last little while. Only 1 drone's died this game. The 4th base has been mining the whole time. Ultras, chitinous plating now, kicking in. Ultras on the field. Infestors with high energy. One of them with full energy. And a 6th base and a 7th base coming out. This is looking like Reynor is going to force a Game 7 in this grand finals. 11 workers being built at a time. Remember, it's a lot of reactors as well. So the moment Ultras hit, they fall off a cliff in terms of efficiency. Fully upgraded Ultra versus fully upgraded Marine means you're only doing 1 damage a shot. A couple of Marauders gets around, and Marauders are very expensive units. So these Zerglings happy to take that trade. Widow Mine over there does get cleaned up. Another 10 workers do go down. These Zerglings are close to free at this stage. Don't get me wrong, there's still a big army supply. You've got to take an efficient army versus army fight at some point as Reynor. So you don't want to just be like, oh, I've won so many fights, now I win. No, no, no. Like, you need to actually land Fungal on the army and then jump on it with all your Ultras all together. There's no Banelings to roll through, so you need enough Ultras to actually overwhelm. He still should be trying to buy time and hunting for that fight because of the army supply difference. ByuN has a terrible economy, but you're trading a lot of Zerglings for economy damage. A lot of army for economy damage, which means long term you'll get further ahead, but in the short term, there could be an advantage in that army supply for your opponent. We know that that is the case. 3-3 advantage versus 2-2 as well, but once your 3-3 kicks in, once you finish maxing out here and make sure you have all your Ultras and Infestors together, I think you can absolutely smash. Ling's going to go for a counterattack again. There's no wall off. Oh, yes, there is. There is still a wall off there. Bottom side of the barracks is not open. Oh, he gets in. And the Lings on top of the rally. Natural main and third. All getting Zerglings in. Ultras and Infestors do come forward. Oh, my, a Mega Fungal. Absolute obliteration. Hungry, hungry Ultralisks. They just need hugs. And those Marines and Marauders get ripped to shreds. The Ling's running in, getting in all 3 mineral lines, obviously occupied ByuN's attention. He's looking away for a second. The Fungals land and his lights out just like that. Reynor is going to force Game 7. All right, guys. ByuN in the bottom left side of the map. Can he finish off this series, or will Reynor be too much for him to handle? It's Rorschach, and it's a map where one has to wonder, if you're in Reynor's shoes, are you expecting 2-Rax Reaper again? Because on this map, you could build 2-Rax Reaper in the main, actually, and just jump down this ledge. And you can get across this map very fast because there's a ledge you can jump up here or over here. There's 2 different paths you could jump in. But, I mean, I guess if you're not building the barracks on the natural, it kind of defeats the purpose. And in fact, it's going to be command center first. Okay. Game 7, ByuN says, greed is good, greed is great. Let's go ahead and go for the greediest build possible. Reynor, of course, doing a very standard opening. We'll see if Reynor, I don't think he'll risk doing something like, he's been doing a third hatch off of a delayed gas a bit. That would be a wild decision. In Game 7, on a mod where, for those who are just tuning in, we've got a few people joining us, Queens do less damage. They are not the vital Zerg defensive tool that they normally are. You can upgrade Roaches at Hive Tech to go from 2 supply down to 1 supply. So you can play Mass Roach pretty deep into the game. Terran has a whole bunch of different upgrades as well. You can pick up tanks in siege mode. It'll suck them into the medevac, but they will unload out of siege tank mode. You can make it so siege tanks do less friendly fire. Hellbats have more hit points and move faster, but also can't get healed by medevacs because they're no longer biologically tagged. Ravens can be built out of a starport without an add-on. They can drop repair drones to heal mech units. There's a lot of interesting things. There's so many little details. Queens can be updated to upgraded 50 minerals in 10 seconds to a swarm queen once you have an evo chamber, which is a much more combat-ready version of the queen. She can get some amazing upgrades in the mid game to get extra armor or to leave creep wherever she moves. She can like just spread creep as she moves around the map, which is insane. But yeah, really curious. These players are obviously very new to it, so they're not using all of the tools by any means. But you'll see a few of those upgrades and differences sneaking in throughout the series. One of the big things Reynor has been using a lot has been hatchery tech drops. You can the moment you have an evolution chamber, you can make these into dropper-lords, and this is a great map for it because you can go drop 8 Zerglings inside the corner of the main, run in, kill a few SCVs, get a full scout off for a very minimal investment. So I hope he does that. For now, this Overlord just looks like it's kind of watching for units moving out. His other Overlords are at home. Zergling's just chilling, and this does look like a bit more of a normal hatch gas pool. Actually, Link speed's going to finish in about a minute, so about 350. Pretty quick third base. Yeah, pretty quick third base, actually, for Reynor. So still a relatively greedy build for him. And, of course, he went forward. He saw that factory timing, and I think that should have been enough for him to know this is command center first. Now, this is an interesting thing. The starport, it usually is going to go, what is that, 6 or 8 Marine drop, 3 Hellions, 1 Liberator after the medevac. This is the same build. Was it against Reynor on Eternity's Edge, right? I think where he did this? Yeah. I've cast a bunch of series in this tournament today, so it's all starting to blend into one at the end of the day. And this series has been a friggin' long one, hasn't it? It's been a really long series. Some big epic games. But Eternity's Edge, or Eternity's End, whatever it's called, that was the map where ByuN found a shocking amount of damage with that, didn't he? It was that the Hellions drove into the third base and did big damage. But that was Reynor was playing Roaches. This time he has Ling Speed. And I really feel like Ling Speed builds, they just don't usually struggle with this. Third command center has been delayed a little bit by the fast starport. It shouldn't make too big of a difference. A few more Lings come out. Usually your Queens will deal with the medevac. Actually, you know, I actually think it's better to have Queens deal with the medevac, Lings deal with the Hellions. We'll see if Reynor does that. And of course, once the Liberator follows it up, you need to split your Queens into 2 packs. He's already on 5 Queens. He's got 2 more there. He's built 1 into a Swarm Queen. Remember, just 50 minerals and 10 seconds to morph her. She's giving the other one a back massage. Sorry, that just looks so funny. The Swarm Queen is so big as well. Okay, these Queens are going to move off creep here. A little bit ambitious there. These units are very slow off creep. Losing an Overlord, not the end of the world. You got to keep these Queens safe. But 12 damage for this Queen, only 5 damage for the regular Queen. So the Swarm Queens are going to be much more powerful. By the way, the official name Rotterdam gave the Queens is Big Booty Queens. Okay. I mean, if I'm allowed to... I mean, normally I'm the guy everyone says, Pig, you're so gross, you're so immature. You make everything into a sex joke. But if that's the official name... All right. He's got 2 Big Booty Queens. 6 that still need to do some more squats. Need to work on their RDLs. Got to build that muscle up. But for now, I think this is actually a good defense. Just two Swarm Queens for a bit of extra defense is really nice. Because it's a pretty light pressure. The Link surrounding those Hellions is a really big win for Reynor. I think he's ahead in this game now. Oh, but it's a mech follow-up. ByuN goes for +1 weapons. He does need to start +1 armor, and he does, yeah. And he's going to go 2nd and 3rd factory. Very cool. I would not expect mech after this opening. And hopefully for ByuN's sake, Reynor doesn't expect it either. Because I think if Reynor knows what's happening, he's quite good against it. That being said... Reynor in GSL choked once or twice against mech, right? Where he had moments where he could have gone and killed Gummio, and he kind of let him just take the time to max out, and that was a really big mistake. Missed opportunity, a season where I think Reynor very well could have gone through in GSL. Hellion Marine going up north. Ooh, nice little Hellbat morph. It's going to be hard to defend that base. Remember, these Hellbats, 10 more hit points and faster movement speed on this mod. Swarm Queens, of course, do great damage. They can also eat drones to get more energy. But Banelings rolling forward. Remember, Banelings will still do bonus damage to these. The 10 more hit points does make the Hellbats a little bit more comfortable withstanding it. Liberator's still chilling down the bottom. This is a good pressure. You see a lot of Swarm Queens. You see a bunch of Banelings. You see respect from Reynor. And you go, okay, yeah, let's chill. Let's chill. We don't need to commit too much. Throw our units away would be a disaster. It's going to be Lingbane Hydra. That's actually really good for Reynor, because if he's already got a lot of Hydras, he'll be in a good spot. Now he needs to start thinking about new upgrades. He's at Lair Tech. He should be getting the Queen upgrade, I feel. I'm not sure where you get that Queen upgrade, but there is an upgrade where the Swarm Queens spread creep as they move around. There's also one to give them 2 armor, which is amazing against Bio. It won't be as impactful against the Cyclones. It does affect them. Of course, the Cyclone lock-on is affected by armor in this mod, but it's not going to be as important as stopping like a Marine with such a low damage amount from doing so much. Magfield and Blue Flame on the way. ByuN goes for the greedy 4th base. I absolutely adore that. I love also the random depots just to see any Ling Run buys or anything coming in early. He's roaming the map. Cyclones do see some Zerglings. They both get tickled. Of course, the tickle almost does take a Zergling out with them being so small. Sorry, guys. Sometimes the sound effects aren't impactful enough in this game, so I just try to improve the very amateurish audio design of StarCraft 2. My professional voice acting skills. It's sorry guys, we wait to game 7 to just absolutely ruin the commentary for those who'd like some serious commentary. Hurricane Thrusters is on the way. 4th command set is almost there. ByuN's going to roam the map. The Hurricane Thrusters makes the Cyclones almost as fast as Hellions. You see, right now they're quite slower. They'll be very close to the same speed once that upgrade finishes. Magfield is also going to give a lot more damage for the Cyclone lock-on attacks. About, I think it's a 50% boost. Hive has started up here as well. More base in the top right. I love seeing you guys on Twitch. I just like, please stop Pig. Sorry. Some people have what we call a neurological defect where we derive an immense amount of pleasure from annoying other people. Australia, we have a term. Starts with D, ends with head for that sort of person. And I am proudly one of them. Hydras are coming out. 4 Hydras already up. He's got movement speed. Angry Spine's on the way. No forgetting his second Hydra upgrade in this game for Reynor. If he can wrap around this army with a Zergling surround, then Zerglings can do great against almost anything if you can fully surround the units. But that's a big if. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Big Link surround at the top left. Link Bane Hydra on the bottom. Reynor just goes for it with an immense army. And he actually does surround a lot of these units. Dude, is that going to be it? Is he just going to roll over him now? No! The Hellions just rallied into the Banelings. He was watching these guys. He select all army DF2 and he pulled his whole army in. ByuN with a tragic misstep. Those 8 extra Blue Flame Hellions that just ran in from the north. I think he had them on the top somewhere. Either ready to do a run by or maybe to try and defend his northern base. But that really hurts. He's going to go for the Osteoderm Growth, guys. That's the +2 armor on the Queens. I think the Crete one's more important, personally. I think it's a higher priority, but he's still using his Queens to kind of defend. He's got 10 Queens in total. Remember that the Swarm Queens cannot inject. They are a combat unit. They are no longer an injecting unit at that point. But damn, they are big. Big chunky lasses, aren't they? And they've got cool haircuts as well. You can see they got like cool hair hanging out the back. Maybe that's just a series of tentacles. I don't know. A little bit of revenge. These Zerglings have nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. What? Oh, he only leaves 5 Hellions to deal with them. It's kind of funny. I feel like he should have trapped the whole army, but he doesn't want to get trapped in here himself. And the Hellions will go in the corner. And yeah, he shouldn't let any of these Zerglings escape. Look at the spready on the units here for Reynor. Reynor's also getting ancillary Carapace, guys. That's going to be +10 hit points, making the Hydras 100 hit points. Quite tanky, man. You know, these Swarm Queens kind of look like Ultralisks, don't they? They're just so chunkers. Huge chungus. +2 Carapace, +2 melee on the way. No range upgrades for the Hydras just yet. The Alien Cyclone could find an excellent fight here off creep. That scan's going to really help out. Remember, Cyclones have a little bit more cooldown lock-on time between lock-ons. Like, you've got to wait a little bit longer before it locks on again. Cyclone Hellion, he's got to spread these units. I don't like the way ByuN's clumping him quite so much, but I guess he just wants to kite for now rather than standing and fighting. He will finally start to clean this army up. 5th Command Center going down would be a real problem. Lings are in the 3rd, though. Uh-oh, Lings are in that 3rd base. That old mineral line! Oh, no, not like this. The Cyclones do clean up the Banelings in the north. The 5th Command Center survives for now, but that's 20 SCVs down. You know what? He's still got 72. I mean, 20 SCVs hurts really badly in a lot of scenarios. In this scenario, I don't know if it's the end of the world. He's just got to... His army's a bit fragile right now. He can't get these guys cornered. No, ByuN, if you... He's in a fragile spot. But if he can, like, just rebuild those workers quickly, get close to max, he's adding some tanks, spread some tanks around, be big. Ling Flank comes in. He has very few Hellions. I do think he needs another reacted factory. He's got 6 Hellions building at a time now. Desperately needs to get that Hellion count up. And you know what? Not too bad. Pushes the Banelings away. Reynor's creep spread's not there. He's still not got the creep upgrade on those Swarm Queens. Remember, he could be spreading creep all over the map right now. The Sensor Tower also kind of being left to stand free. The other thing is Burrowed Infestors. Obviously, Burrowed Infestors to catch your opponent's units is big. But look at the tank spots. Oh, ByuN. Beautiful tank positioning. He's got tanks on all the corners, spread out around those. Oh my gosh, this is amazing for map control. And he's got Hellbats ready to guard that tank as well. Cleans up the gold base. Oh, man. Oh, man. Reynor builds a Spire. Oh, no. Reynor has no idea what he's doing. Oh, no, that's for Greatest Spire. Never mind. His Hive is already done. Okay. So he's going to go Broodlords, which is absolutely necessary. In the meantime, though, he's got to get Infestors, and he's got to kind of burrow them behind and start neuroparasiting siege tanks or something like that. Lings are trying to go for this round. Can he do it? Lings are good against Cyclones, but the Hellions and Hellbats tend to ruin them. Pretty good wraparound. Lings are expendable units, and I think that's a really good trade for Reynor. Right when we were saying the position looked really rough and he's losing too many units, every Cyclone is worth about 12 Zerglings. Like, this is, you know, these are good trades. These are really good trades for Reynor. He's down 2,000 in the trading. That's normal. Zerg's meant to be down sometimes as much as 50% behind Terran. I'd say more comfortable is 25 to 30% is acceptable. Gets above that, Terran starts to feel really happy. Anything below that, and if you get close to 50-50, you know, then Zerg is going to be just having a big fat smile on their face. That being said, this map doesn't have a lot of neutral bases, right? It's like, this is the only kind of neutral base that's not clearly on one player's side of the map or the other, and so far he's had it denied a few times. Siege tanks partially covering, but the Lings go for the surround. He loves this mobile mass Zergling army. He's coming in right now. He does have adrenal glands. A few Siege tanks, Hellions, and Cyclones there, and I think a wise pullback. There's no repair drone upgrade just yet, guys, for ByuN. Does ByuN have an engineering bay? He does. He really, yeah, he should be going repair drones. Means the buildings will douse these fires on their own and repair back to half-life for free. Saves you a lot of money long-term as well. Here we go. Hydras, Zerglings coming in. It's mostly the APM, though. It's the APM of not panicking, having to repair things quickly and losing less idle time. Oh, Cyclone's getting picked off. Hydra Ling getting big damage. He's in the middle of the map as well. Oh, he clears the tanks. Nice move with the Zerglings, but Reynor's got to be careful to not overcommit. I don't think this is an overcommitment, though. That's a great trade. That one siege tank does barely survive. But wowzers. Units lost tab very close to even. He cleans up so many expensive units, and whilst ByuN has 5 bases and a really impressive worker count, this is very scary. Now, finally, subdermal creep follicles. The Swarm Queen passive creep gen upgrade is here. And he's still got those 5 Swarm Queens. I mean, he can use this to just run up if he clears these tanks and just spread creep here, everywhere. And spread it all over the map. And that's one of the best ways you can dominate the map on this mod. Lings on the right side will come in. The siege tanks don't have any of their specialty upgrades just yet. They're not important, really, at this stage. Hydra's getting pushed back by the Cyclones. Man, it's so tough. The mobility of Cyclone Hellion, even on the live game, is tough. With the Cyclones keeping up with the Hellions for once, it's even more punishing. Does allow Mech to be much more viable against Zerg here. Hellbats do a quick morph. Nice move there with the Hellbats roasting and toasting those Zerglings. Hydra Zergling in the north side. Cyclone Hellion trying to pick them off. The Swarm Queens. He's spamming transfuses for days, but the Swarm Queens are going to go down. He finally gets the upgrade where they spread creep, and they're all dead. And that is really sucky for Reynor. He just got the creep upgrade for them. His little mobile creep outposts that they're meant to be are all gone. Now, he's got a Great Aspire, right? He does have a Great Aspire. He's building some Corruptors. He wants to break these tank positions, but honestly, there's only 4 tanks. It's almost pure Cyclone Hellion, and yeah, Broodlords can pick at that, but they can also get dove on by the Cyclone sometimes. You got to be really careful. Lingbane counter over here. Reynor, one of the fastest players in the world. ByuN used to be the best micro Terran in the world. These days, still considered very good at micro, but not as good at like the raw multitasking as Clem, the best Terran in the world. And oh, he finds the mass burrowed Baling. He wanted to detonate that under the Cyclone Hellion and blow them all up, but ByuN scans it, and that there is, my friends, the power of the Orbital Command Center, of which, by the way, he's only got 5. He doesn't have like mass orbital, and he does need Vikings and Thors. He scans. Oh, he just saw the Broodlords. He must have spotted the edge of the Broodlords with that scan, because Vikings and Thors have both powered up. He's forgotten +3 vehicle armor, which is a bit of a bummer. Quite an important upgrade for Terran. But the Vikings and Thors will help him deal with this. Obviously, Libs and potentially Ghosts would also be amazing late game tools. The lack of Infestors with Burrow have been a little bit of a loss here, but Zergling's unable to deal with the Planetary Fortress. They will find a siege tank on its own and clear it up. Broodlords trying to do a poke, but oh my god, they're unguarded. Oh no! Dude, he's going to lose 3 broods. Two Broodlords went down. One of the Cyclones did fall. Not a bad move. The Broodlords take out quite a few of these Cyclones. Now, Broodlings no longer have a timed life, but they will just lose life over time. So they'll naturally lose hit points the longer they are out, as you can see, guys. So they still last, I think they last a little bit longer now than they did previously. But they're still pretty nerfed. Remember, Broodlings got nerfed a billion times in the last few years of StarCraft 2, and they've not really reverted most of those. So, Broodlords still just a kind of hit-and-run unit, moving in and out. They do fire their first shot immediately these days. Reynor's not got any bank, though. He's got to be careful. He still has to be very efficient here. Denying this base is huge. Oh, this base getting blocked by a single burrowed Zergling is massive. The gold base he's transferring workers to. Wow, this is really good. He knows that top middle base is the hardest to defend, so that's the most important to take the resources. Before ByuN can counterpush, Thors get caught in the open. That is a disaster for ByuN. His Hellion Cyclone, they were too busy clearing the Zergling on the bottom base. Reynor dives, catches him out of position. You can imagine if that Cyclone Hellion was there to defend those Thors initially, that's a horrendous fight for Reynor. But Reynor dove, took advantage of that little bit of weakness, and now he should hard swap off Broodlords. He's actually made a few more, funnily enough. He's got a few more Broodlords filtering through. But I think, you know you're going to get tons more Vikings and Thors out of ByuN, just because he's got to respect these broods. That could be massive. Remember, Queens can transfuse off creeps. They're a much better support unit at this stage. This command center could land down here. ByuN is going to need that mining up in the near future right now. Income. He's ahead for ByuN. I imagine he's got a few mules out there. Only one, actually. But Reynor maybe just not having quite as many minerals to mine from. His command center struggling to land. Zergling's hoping that he drops mules down here. ByuN lands the command center and awkwardly picks it back up again as he goes for it. +3 vehicle armor. Counts for ships and ground mech. And, of course, his ship weapons. Broodlings coming in. The Viper's going to abduct these Vikings into the Hydras. But the Broodlords could struggle with the Thors. The tank's very good against those Hydras. Unfortunately, he didn't get the no friendly fire damage, which means he will blast his own Hellbats here in some of these situations. But oh my god, the Broodlords get pushed back. ByuN holds on for now. The Broodlord goes down. What an insane hold there for ByuN. These faster moving Hellbats, that 10 extra hit points really does make a difference. And he's able to push him away. Reynor is making a ton of Zerglings. He's mining the gold minerals. But honestly, I think Reynor needs to pivot into a full mobile army. Make some Banes, crash through this northern base, and then go back to focusing on the south. Right now, he's kind of getting stuck on this bottom base, and he's got to try and maybe take out these northern bases. I love the Lings in the south. I think Ling Run Bys in the south is a great idea. Scouting barracks for ByuN has really paid off, though. You can just split a few Hellbats, Cyclones, things down there to catch those Zerglings. And Reynor, Viper, Hydraling Bane will be his transition at this stage. He's got the gold base mine. He's going to jump on him. Oh my lord, opportunistic dive, but he's only a small army for Reynor. Is this a good move? Oh, he gets one Blinding Cloud on the tank, but honestly, I think he should have Blinding Clouded the Thors there. I could be wrong. Not quite having the Viper energy needed. Hydra's trying to stand and fight. Units lost tab. It's incredibly close between the two, but it's such a good late game mech map for Terran because, like I said, where are the neutral bases? There's only this gold base. Thankfully, Reynor is mining it. He's not taking the gas, which is a little unfortunate. I feel like he should be mining everything, but even this middle base he's struggled to mine from. He's got to keep trading about as efficiently as he has, or he will lose. If there's just one normal ZVT engagement where the Terran just wipes the floor with him, which is a bit more standard, you know, he's taking such good fights for these Zerglings. Even though the Hellbats just blast them, he's always getting really good surrounds. The Cyclones trying to take out the hatchery, they're not able to. The drones are instantly popping out of the ground there, trying to get back to mining. His Zergling harassment's great. Reynor's multitasking has been off the charts. But I do think that top left base is so clearly indefensible. Like, ByuN is just in survival mode, trying to hold this middle wedge. And letting this mine, there's thousands... This is a base, if you deny this, ByuN can never retake it. Like, you can take that hatchery and steal those resources. So that's the one little positioning error that he's made this game. 25 Hydras is also way too many. They're going to get stuck behind each other in the battle unless you split your army into two sides. Hydras aren't maneuverable enough for you to have such a mass be useful. Usually above about 15 in one engagement, unless they're already pre-spread into a big concave, is going to struggle. Very fantastic Game 7. Cool to see ByuN risk everything on mech. Viper barely survives. He's going to come forward. You got to watch out. He can abduct those Cyclones. Vipers will give long-term efficiency. I guess I can see why he's on heavy Hydra now, because he's gone 6 Viper. Okay. Makes sense. Oh, good move in air. I don't know if ByuN needs to commit it, though. I feel like he could have just killed the hatchery and ran away. His units might get isolated now. Lings do deny this base. Abduct's coming in! He yoinks the tanks, yoinks the Cyclones. The Lings and the Hydras blast them. 3 Vipers do go down, but he does some really good damage. I don't think chasing in is a good idea, though. You can see the tanks are still there. The Hellbats as well. The hatchery up north does go down. Reynor, he's still making more Zerglings, but he's lost his gold base, and he's not denied this one, which means this base here and this base here are everything for him. He's going to be able to remax long term, though. Is he really going to be able to find the engagements? He's been on mass Zergling for so long, and you can see ByuN's composition is changing. He's on almost pure Hellion. He's got like 20 Hellions. Yes, there's some Cyclones and tanks and things, and the Vipers will be efficient with those abducts, but they've only got so much energy. So you can pick off a Cyclone or two, and now you need a minute. Reynor's like, give me a minute, let me consume more energy. Remember, consume is a little bit slower on the energy grab than it is in the live version of the game as well. It does do more damage to your buildings as well. He needs to start grabbing energy. and try to find a way to get that done. ByuN is going to start mining this base. I think constant link counters on the south would be great, but the barrack spots them every single time. Viper's consuming that extractor. They got to pull back and try and grab energy off something a bit tankier. You can see there, they are going to kill that extractor pretty quickly. Pure Hydraling, a few Broodlords in the mix. There are still 7 Vikings. Hellion Cyclone founds the southern base. Oh no! Oh no, Reynor! This is one of his only 2 mining bases. ByuN scans the top, sees no hatchery. And that means he has a smile on his face. He knows that Reynor's economy is toast. Reynor's on his last 4,000 minerals, 250 gas right now in the bank. He's going to run in with Zerglings. If he gets on the production, that'd be really nice. But as it is, pokes forward on the front. This hatchery goes down as well. No way! ByuN is right now treating Reynor like a toddler. Hello? Hello? Who's a good boy? Yeah. Oh, got your hatchery. Oh, got your drones. Like, he's just running. Absolute disrespect, ByuN. When a battle mech player has you and they have you pinned like this on a map like this where he's got his bases defended, you can't defend your expansion. It really does feel like you're being toyed with. You feel like a helpless toddler. And you're like, gosh, man, put some respect on my name. But what can Reynor do in this scenario? I don't know. ByuN's playing so well. And he's just constantly darting in with these little packs. And that hatchery should go down. He does target it. The Cyclones and Hellbats will fall, but ByuN's got good income. Vikings looking for the exposed Broodlords. This is a dangerous dive. Good transfuses. Queens will defend there. Remember, their anti-air damage is still just as good, if actually better than it is pre-patch. Or pre this mod, in the live version of the game is what I'm trying to say. Broodlord, Queen, Viper hanging out. Vikings are going to come in and overwhelm. The Viper's getting gunned down. There's not enough support here. The Hydraling comes back. The Power Bomb, somewhat effective on the Vikings, but they pull back that one. The Broodlords have all gone down. You can see the way ByuN kind of baited him in like an angry bull into a bit of a sloppy engage. Like, yeah, there was some beauty there for Reynor, but there was also some sloppiness. And as much as Reynor's units lost tab is so impressive, and I always find his heavy Zergling anti-mech play so impressive, it's so fragile and it's so difficult on a map like this. If you put him on a big 4-player map with lots of bases up this top side of the map where he could expand away from the Terran, sure, he'd be able to do this forever. But in this sort of game, I'm just not quite sure about that. Hydraling trying to break through. His Corruptors are peeing on the command center down the bottom, which is a really cute move. But there's not much more reinforce here. The Planetary defending, nice fallback of that position. The 3 Corruptors trying to do the wee-wee, but the mass repair is good enough. The Cyclones and Vikings are going to clean it up. Hydras catch the Thors in the open. Reynor's been really good at opportunistically diving on exposed Thors all game long, but he's only got +1 range on those Hydras as well. And that's actually a really big thing I've just realized. Only +1 on the Hydras. Quite unfortunate. Against +3 armor mech, that's a huge damage reduction. The Corruptors all went down. The Thors, Hellions, and Cyclones. Hold on. Reynor's got his gold base back up in the north. He's got the southern base back mining again. This middle base back mining. But in order to get the map control to do that, he's had to sacrifice his entire army. And ByuN realizes this. He's like, you have just overextended so far. You don't have anything left. He counter pushes across the map. And ByuN makes it happen there. Really well played. It was kind of cool to see him playing mech there. The only upgrade difference he got in this game was Hurricane Thrusters. Didn't really remember all of his tank upgrades. And honestly, they wouldn't have been that impactful. Really unfortunate Reynor, I wasn't able to use his Swarm Queens a bit early. It's so hard against Battle Mech. Like, even if he did get the Swarm Queen upgrade first instead of the armor and moved around and maybe spread some creep a little bit further forward here, respread some creep here, it would have been tough to not just lose the Swarm Queens to Cyclones on the move. But I do think there's like really high skill ceiling for what you can do with those Swarm Queens with that creep spread upgrade. For those who haven't seen it, you can literally move the Queen from here to here and it instantaneously creates a corridor of creep like that. Now the creep will recede when she's not standing near it, but the fact is the ability to like run forward with that Swarm Queen, and she's pretty decently fast as well off creep, is insane. It's like she just like runs forward, spreads the creep like crazy, because obviously, well, it's not that she's fast off creep, it's that she generates creep instantly, so she's moving on creep as she moves. So she basically becomes a fast unit. And you can just run around, and then you can just drop a creep tumor, run around, drop a creep tumor, run around, drop a creep tumor, and like you can just have like a Swarm Queen on each side of the map, and they're so good at throwing the creep right up in your opponent's face. And if your opponent's like, oh, they've just got a planetary here, you can run up and put a creep tumor here with her. And like have creep on your opponent's base and then spread it backwards from there as well. Like that sort of thing. So you can even set up launch pads for your attacks where anytime Reynor is jumping forwards here, if you've got a Swarm Queen that goes just in front of your army, sometimes you can get creep like onto their base before the fight even starts. Either way, really cool to see. I mean, there's so many fun changes. I feel like the players have barely scratched the surface because they're not as used to it as they could be. And I think what's really cool is since the last time I've cast a bunch of patches mod games, for those who don't know, as we kind of tab out here and take a look, is there's so many more changes in here. It's become a massive document. A lot of it is just changelog stuff, but there's so many cool things. And I've just cast a lot of games today, and I'm like, damn, there are so many friggin' awesome changes. I totally am sad that no one used the Battlecruiser, by the way. Battlecruiser anti-ground attack range up to 7. And like, come on, guys. It's also faster move speed. You've got extra range against ground. It's not quite as crazy as Green Earth's Battlecruiser, but I think over time you can see Patches and Green Earth both infecting each other with fun, cool ideas and just adding them to this mod. And I can't wait to see more games on this. For those who don't know, if you didn't already watch and hear about it earlier, the Patch Clash circuit got announced. $5,000 circuit. There is a $2,000 circuit final held after 8 monthly cups with a $405 prize pool. That can all be increased, and there can be support for more future events. You guys go over to the website down in the description below, or if you're watching live in the chat, I'm going to link that to everyone who's watching live right now. You can go search the Match Arena or the Ko-Fi. A big shout out to Patches, of course, for just running his own small tournaments and events on this mod for a while, constantly adding changes, putting them in, figuring out how to do them perfectly in the map maker, bringing cool upgrades from campaign and things that were already built, as well as adding and building his own little things to go into the game. But also, I think it's Delphus who sponsored it. I think Roddy pitched in a little bit and a few other people, so hats off to those guys. So check it out, patchclash.com, and thank you guys. I'll be casting highlight matches from this as we go on, and GG, well played. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Goodbye and good night.